All right, well, welcome to your week in review. And tonight, guys, back by popular demand, Mr. Casual Wrestling Fan is here to co-host the show with me and talk about everything going on in WWE, give me his thoughts on the releases towards the end of the show and if WWE is going to be sold, as well as playing a little game at the end where we get to fire 3 men and 3 women each from the current rosters. It's a blast. You're not going to want to miss this one, guys. Mr. Casual Wrestling Fan and myself starts right now.
Welcome to the WWE Podcast, your number one source for the latest in WWE news and straightforward analysis. Are you ready to get this thing going?
Give me a hell yeah! I said give me a hell yeah!
Then let's get this show started right now.
Hey everybody, welcome to the WWE Podcast. It is Sunday, June 13th, 2021. And buckle up, guys, because we have Mr. Casual Wrestling Fan back by popular demand, as I've mentioned, and he is here to discuss everything going on in WWE. And boy, oh boy, does he have some takes that I think you're going to want to hear. As always, I think he is just so well-spoken, number one, and he has views that I don't think a lot of us are thinking about. He has a way of looking at wrestling that is just different than most, that it's fun to listen to somebody talk about wrestling that is not the same way that most people do, myself included. I mean, I think he should have his own damn show, if you ask me. But he is always a great conversation, and we talked for 2.5 hours about wrestling this week. So if you like long-form audio, certainly this one's going to deliver as we completely dissect nearly everything. We didn't cover every little detail, but boy, oh boy, did we dive into some topics pretty deep. Fantasy booked a little bit, and then had fun with our game at the end where we got to fire 3 people each from the men's and women's divisions. Of course, in our fantasy lands, not actually advocating for these people being fired, but a really fun conversation, guys, with Mr. Casual Wrestling Fan. Again, very well spoken, fun to talk to, and I'm sure we'll hear from him this coming week on the mailbag. And if you have your thoughts on our conversation here, let us know. I mean, we are interested in your feedback from our conversation, so send it to us. You know, email us at realwwepodcast@gmail.com or call in this week with the mailbag 518-952-0247. I've also upgraded, if any of you care, I've upgraded the mic this week. I've actually got some new hardware. I went from the Yeti. I was using the Yeti mic, which was fine for a while, but one of them crapped out on me. I had another spare one, but I said, you know what? It's time to upgrade, right? It's time to upgrade my standard of living. Spend money on things I already have. But for real, I think this one sounds better. So maybe you noticed, maybe you didn't. This is actually, I'm using if you do wonder, some people do ask, I'm using the Shure MV7. That's the mic that I use. And it's not the SM7B. That's a much more expensive microphone. This one's kind of like the middle tier. But it's a brand new mic, and I really recommend it, by the way. So far, I love it. It's the Shure MV7, for those of you that care. If you don't, well, cool. You get to learn something anyway. All right, well, we're going to get to the conversation in just a minute. I would like to invite you, though, to head on over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast because not only is it to help support the show, but beyond that, if you join, you get a Discord server link that you can use. It's a private one for all of our listeners or all of our supporters on Patreon. And we're going to use that during the pay-per-view next Sunday night. So a week from tonight, as I record this anyway, we are going to use that server to talk about everything going on in real time on the pay-per-view, give in-time real reactions and complaints and praise and whatever else you want to talk about in the Discord server. So if you want to join that conversation, and I'll be on that server all night, giving my in-person thoughts and responding to you guys. It's really for you, not necessarily for me. Head on over to patreon.com. I'll send you that link when you sign up, and it'll be a really fun time talking about everything going on that night in wrestling, because Hell in a Cell is coming up a week from tonight. So, all right. Well, thank you everybody for listening. As always, I'll be bowing out now as we're going to head to our conversation. Quite a long show tonight. It's one of our top 10 longest shows. Not a complaint, especially if you love that long form audio. So I'll be back Tuesday night with your Monday Night Raw review, and then you guys know the schedule the rest of the week. So Thank you to everybody listening. And as always, I'll talk to you next time. All right, everybody. Well, this is back by popular demand. This man is back because of you, the listener, who have emailed me, asked me, hey, you got to bring him back. When is he coming back? And as we always do here, we're all about customer service here at the WWE podcast. We have serviced you, the listener, to bring back the Mr. Casual Wrestling fan. Welcome back to the show. How you doing, man?
Yes, sir, Matt. Doing good. Shout out to everybody in the WWE podcast. I'm glad to be back, and we're gonna have some fun tonight.
Yes, we are. And I know that the listeners have fun with your mailbag that you send in every week. Sometimes it's a voicemail. Lately, it's been more email. And boy, oh boy, do you cut promo. I can hear your voice through the emails. I don't know what it is. Every single time that you write in, you cut a promo on me or say things that purposefully annoy me about things that are going on. It's good stuff. So we're going to get to the weekend review. At the end of the show, just so everybody knows, we're going to get the Mr. Casual Wrestling fans' take on not just the releases, but also a hell of a question he posed to me at the beginning of this show before we aired. Who would we fire? Who would each of us fire? Three guys or gals that are on TV regularly, not jobbers, if we had to release 3 people today on top of the releases that we've already gotten. So that is going to be saved for the end of the show. How about that for a hook? So guys, stay tuned for that. But we're going to jump into this week in WWE. 1 week out from Hell in a Cell. Really only 1 month. Just 1 month until fans are back in the flesh. I don't think anybody can wait for that. But I got to ask you, what do you really love about what's going on right now in WWE?
I got 2 words for you. Acknowledge him. Roman Reigns. The Raised, defended, uncontroverted, undisputed, Universal Champion of the world, the Tribal Chief. He is the man. He's the boss. He's whatever you need him to be. He's that guy. I love it. I love everything about it. You know how I feel about the bloodline word, but Roman Reigns is doing his thing.
There's no question Roman Reigns has been the highlight of not just SmackDown. I mean, we all know he's carrying SmackDown on his back. There's no question about that. Other guys and gals, I think, have done their job on SmackDown outside of the Roman Reigns storyline. It's been a much, much, much better show than Monday Night Raw. I think not just SmackDown is the show he's carrying. I think he's carrying WWE in totality. Yes, I know he's not on Raw, but it feels like this guy, without this storyline, I think a lot of fans, even more than they already have, would have tuned out. And the ratings aren't great, but I think Roman Reigns is a guy that has been one of the foundational pillars of the pandemic era, and it's going to be awesome to see him back in front of a live audience doing what he does, and I think it's going to be up from there. Now, I got to ask you, before we get into what happened, but very quickly, because there are so many rumors floating around about who Roman Reigns is going to face next. I mean, yes, we know Rey Mysterio at Hell in a Cell, but the rumors, 2 guys, and I'll name them for you. You know what I'm going to say, but I want to know what you think the probability of this happening is. John Cena and The Rock. What do you think could happen, if anything, or do you think this is all just kind of just rumor mill stuff?
I'm going to be honest. I think there's some validity to these. Number one, because obviously WWE is going back on the road. So I do think it's a high probability of John Cena. And I ain't going to say, you know me, 50-50. I'm not going to go over the edge. 50-50 chance John Cena comes back. Hopefully it's a one-off. I'm not really a John Cena fan. I think Rock is a lot lower of a chance, maybe 25%. Or maybe that's something they run out towards WrestleMania if it's not Drew McIntyre. But it wouldn't shock me if it was John Cena, honestly. How about yourself?
I think, lately it's been The Rock as a hot topic about how they want to set something up for Survivor Series that leads to a match between them at WrestleMania 38 in Dallas in front of 80,000 people. So, I don't know if I don't know if that's swaying what my opinions are about The Rock versus Roman Reigns. To me, I would say 50-50 on The Rock, and I would say 25% on John Cena. And I'm not doing it just to go against what you're saying, because I still think there's a chance John Cena does. But I think the story for The Rock and Roman Reigns is deeper than just John Cena and Roman Reigns. Because number one, we've already seen Roman Reigns and John Cena. I understand it was many years ago, well, 3-4 years ago. And Roman Reigns was in a much different position as an uncomfortable babyface that couldn't cut promos and got absolutely shredded in front of a crowd against one of the best on the mic of all time, John Cena. But the storyline is almost just there to be taken with The Rock as part of the family, the Samoan heritage. He could come in and immediately, challenge Roman Reigns as head of the table. The storyline is just ripe for the picking. I think The Rock is a slightly higher chance than John Cena, and actually, I'd want to see The Rock against Roman Reigns if I had to pick more than I'd want to see John Cena against Roman Reigns.
And I agree that I would prefer to see The Rock Roman Reigns. That's a great match. But is that something that we're going to give away before WrestleMania? I mean, that could literally headline WrestleMania. It's been a while since we, got back out here and to feel normal again. Hopefully 2022 is in Dallas. It's going to be rocking. Think about the crowd just booing Roman out the door. Rock getting a great, great pop. And I think that's the move. And like I said, I'm pretty sure WWE, they need ratings. But SmackDown is doing good. So I think you get the people John Cena. A lot of people want to see the Cena match right now. I think it's something you can blow off on for SummerSlam. And like I said, I'm not here for John Cena, but I know a lot of people is. And I would like to see The Rock, but I would want them to hold that. That's Roman Reigns Rock, WrestleMania. Roman's been champ over a year and a half. He's done defeated everybody. Everybody's praying and hoping. Rock, please beat him. Take it from him. It's been over a year and a half. I think WrestleMania is the way to go. And I hope that Roman will beat The Rock to give people the ultimate. Send them home mad. Let's not send them home happy. Send them home mad. Roman's still champion and go from there.
That is something too. Now, we're also not even looking at the fact that both of these could probably happen. I think there's a slight chance that both of these things happen. And I think there's a solid chance that both of these happen with John Cena versus Roman at SummerSlam. And then something happens with The Rock later in the year leading to a match at WrestleMania. I think that's probable. Do I think it's likely? No, but I think it's probable and or possible. But you're right. I want people to be angry because you think The Rock's going to come back. Imagine the pop, number one. But number two, you want The Rock as a legendary figure to take down this big-headed egomaniac of Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. And like you said, then The Rock fails. That's actually what I want. And I'm a massive Rock fan. I want someone to beat the hell out of Roman Reigns. But I'm actually willing to forego that happiness for the character of Roman Reigns that is something special going on right now. I actually, like you said, yeah, because The Rock winning, what would that do? The Rock goes back to Hollywood and Roman Reigns is left standing there a bit demoralized for what? So to me, Roman has to win both of these matches if it happens.
And I totally agree. But let me switch a little bit. What do you think the probability for Brock Lesnar to come back to face Bobby is?
I think it's good. I actually think it's a higher chance than out of all three of these. I would bank on Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley as the most likely to happen. Do I think it's a foregone conclusion? No, I would put it slightly ahead of the chances of The Rock coming back, meaning maybe like a 60% chance. Don't ask me how I'm coming up with this math. It's just believe me. I think that Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley is something that should happen. I think they hinted at it even a little bit on Monday Night Raw, either last week or the week before, mentioning about Brock Lesnar. He was mentioned in passing, and Bobby Lashley referred to him as that some other guy. I think that's the phraseology he used. So they kind of mentioned him in passing, so that might set a little bit of a seed in for Brock versus Bobby. I think it is more likely than John Cena and or The Rock. What about you?
I agree. I think it's a big, hopefully. I mean, that will be a great match. And I agree. I put it about 60. You know, I'm not, it's hard for me to gamble high on WWE because they're so sporadic, but I would love to see Bobby Brock. That's a great match. I don't want to get into the Paul Heyman issue because I personally don't think it's possible for him to represent them both. But I feel like Bobby Brock will be great. Where do you give it away at though? Do you do it at SummerSlam or do we push it past SummerSlam? How would you play that?
I actually may do SummerSlam. The reason I may do SummerSlam for that is because who else is Bobby Lashley going to face? I mean, they are running out of baby faces. They've already run out. I mean, they're trying to recreate Kofi Mania, which is not working. They have Drew McIntyre this coming Sunday night at Hell in a Cell for the final time, presumably, and we can get into this, but I think presumably Bobby Lashley's going to retain. I think he should. I don't think anybody wants to see Drew McIntyre as champion again for a long time, or even mention, I don't want the words WWE Championship coming out of his mouth for like a year. I don't even want to hear him talk about it anymore. So I think that after Drew is done and he goes off and does his own thing, who does Bobby face? I mean, I really don't know. So I think Brock Lesnar, it may take a few weeks, maybe at Money in the Bank or something like that. Brock Lesnar shows up and gives Bobby Lashley a 1 or 2 match run. What about you?
I would like for that because you know how I feel about Drew. I'm tired of seeing him in this title picture. You know, Miss Casual Wrestling fan and my daughter, they love him. They want him to get the belt back and do the Drew McIntyre COVID thing all over again. But me personally, I'm not here for that. You know, it's really stale to me that Drew, you know, he keeps getting opportunity and keeps getting opportunity. And I'm just not here for that personally. I hope Bobby retains, but I'm going to be honest with you. I really think Drew has a high chance of winning this match. And it's the wrong move by WWE. I'm totally against it. But we cannot ignore the facts, you know, that's coming up. They're saying this is Drew's last chance. There's no baby faces for Bobby to face. They're going back on the road. You know, it just seems too prime to say put the belt back on Drew. Drew will have plenty heels to face, and he can go back and do everything he did like he did last year in front of the crowd. I'm against that thought process. I think Bobby Lashley is the current wave, and we should ride him out. And but to form a quick question within our discussion, does Brock come back as the face?
Yes, I think he does. The reason is because he has to. The lack of baby faces on Raw is so strikingly large that it goes from Drew McIntyre down to what, Kofi Kingston? And look, I'm not a Kofi fan. People know that. But I think that they are trying to recreate something from, 2 years ago? And we're supposed to be invested in a character that never talked about his championship loss to Brock for 2 years, and all of a sudden he just remembered, oh, I didn't get my opportunity. That's right. They are pulling at straws right now. While I love Brock Lesnar as a heel, actually a little bit more than a babyface, I don't think they're going to have a chance to really make him a heel because they are so lacking in big baby faces. They have no option.
And that comes into our next problem. Assuming Bobby beats Drew, assuming Brock comes back and Bobby beats Brock, you're back at square one. I mean, you still got it on a heel champion who doesn't have other. And granted, they do have time to try to establish some top baby faces, but I really feel like that takes time. You don't establish a top baby face overnight. You know, it's something that has to be organically done. The fans have to get behind said person. I mean, I even took time to rewatch the Royal Rumble from 2020 where Drew won. And when Drew came out, his pop wasn't as big as MVP's pop. MVP's pop was loud. Drew's pop wasn't that loud. But when he eliminated Brock, the fans got behind him. And I'm not saying he wasn't a top babyface before then, but I'm saying at that moment was when the fans said, this is our guy. And I think it's going to be hard for WWE just to put somebody to say, hey, Kofi, go recreate it. You can't do that. Hey, Xavier, try to recreate it. Try to help Kofi recreate it. He can't do that. You know, I'm totally over the New Day personally. I don't like Xavier Woods at all. And Kofi Kingston, I do like that conversation he had with MVP.
I was going to ask
and
you
I
that.
hope,
Yep.
yeah, I hope that leads to something. And I know everybody's thinking, well, maybe he joins the whole business. I don't think that's the way they're going to go with it. If we remember with Apollo, he had that conversation with Paul. And after that, we got a whole new Apollo that had nothing to do with Roman Reigns. But because Roman just put that extra rub on him because it came from Paul, it worked. And I think they're trying to recreate that, hopefully. And I'm all here for a Kofi heel character.
I hope they do it. I think the New Day, now I've said this for many, like I'm seriously years and years now, since, I don't know, probably 2016, 2017, that I think the New Day's run its course. But, you know, I understand from a business perspective, from a monetary perspective, if they're raking in merchandise sales, I totally get why they keep them together. They're a for-profit organization. You know, just because something may be running ragged and completely overused doesn't mean they're not going to keep running a group or a champion out there if that person's making a lot of money for the company. It's so, you know, just because something's old doesn't mean it's not making money, especially with kids that are the ones, you know, really the consumers, but the parents are the ones buying the merchandise, the cereal, the unicorn horns, whatever. And I don't know what the merchandise numbers are on the whole New Day gimmick anymore. If it's going south, you'll know by the fact that they break them up, like you said with Kofi Kingston. But you asked about, well, what do they do if Brock comes in, he loses to Bobby, and then they're back at square one? Well, they're doing the draft a week after SummerSlam this year. So they would only need to get Brock to SummerSlam, presumably lose to Bobby Lashley, which I hope he would, because I actually want Bobby to keep going. And then just get to the draft. You only have a week to get to the draft. That's, you know, you can do anything that week. So immediately you get to push the reset button that following week after SummerSlam. So really, they only have to get through like 2 months and change left with the current rosters as they are to get to that reset button. Hopefully an influx of NXT, not everyone, but maybe an NXT guy or gal here or there, I think would do some real good here. So, and presumably even, you know, I'm hearing rumors of Finn Balor coming back to the quote main roster. So that's the one good thing, guys. 2 months or so, and we'll be back to hitting the reset button with the draft.
And there's only one problem with the draft. If there's not a lot of NXT call-ups, SmackDown doesn't have a lot of baby faces either. I mean, Roman Reigns fought KO 3 times. He didn't fought Edge and Daniel Bryan, who Dan Bryan's not there no more. Edge is, you know, what, a 5-fight contract or something like that. He's got Cesaro. He knocked him off. Now they just made something with Rey Mysterio. Roman is going through the same problems as well on SmackDown. I mean, they have a few more baby faces because obviously everybody want to see Big E come in, you know, but without a lot of NXT call-ups, which I hope for, you know, NXT does have good wrestlers. I don't watch NXT like that, but I do catch it when I can. Finn Balor definitely needs to come up, and they need to bring up a lot of other people too. And, you know, hopefully they can get it under control. Hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, it's just getting to the point now where it's just painfully obvious, especially on Raw, that they need something different to do beyond deal with a haunted doll that is main eventing Monday Night Raw. I mean, some people may say, well, they've done Hocus Pocus before to end Raw. Like, what about The Undertaker? You know, Bray Wyatt's ended Raw. It's different with Alexa because, number one, Alexa Bliss, I'm a big fan of Alexa. I like what she's done. She has reinvented her character in a big way. She added to the Fiend character a lot. I think Bray should be grateful for Alexa and what she's done, especially when Bray wasn't there and Alexa was there to torment Randy Orton for 4 months. The only thing I have a problem with is the fact that it took them 2 months to put Alexa Bliss in a storyline and not just sitting backstage on her make-believe playground, talking to a doll that apparently has demonic powers. And I get it. Like, we've seen wacky things in the past from WWE with their Hocus Pocus magic. I understand that. But when it main events Raw with a doll, like a doll is apparently chasing Shayna Baszler throughout the arena, and no one's backstage, except for the cameraman. Oh, and the cameramen are in every convenient location in every room that she happened to go in. But I guess before I keep going, what did you think? Maybe you have a better or a more positive spin on this. The ending of Monday Night Raw this week with Shayna Baszler freaking out over stepping on Lily, and then Lily, basically using all of her superpowers to scare Shayna Baszler.
Well, man, if you thought I was going to have a positive spin on this one, you're wrong. That was some crap.
I tried. I tried.
That was literally crap. And let me say this up front. I personally like cinematic aspects that WWE does from time to time. I like the Undertaker Boneyard match, and I know a lot of people did not did. So I don't have a problem with cinematic. But that, I don't know. I'm not here for that. Alexa Bliss character, when we talked back in January, I had a total different perspective of her than I do today. I am totally over the character. And, I know a lot of people might not be as far gone as me. She's been playing with dolls, swinging on a swing set, but yet people have a problem with a zombie lumberjack match. At least you got to see the zombies do some type of action. You got to see them wrestle to some degree. Alexa Bliss, all you've seen from her is a punch. That's it. She threw some punches. Lily got stomped on. I don't even want to waste my time with this. You got it, man.
All right. Well, I mean, really, if you guys heard my Raw review, it was pretty scathing for this segment. I'm not a fan of cinematic, so this doubled down on my dislike for this. The Boneyard match, the more I watch it, the more I think I'm also kind of coming to terms with the fact that it's not as bad as I originally thought, because it's also Undertaker's last match, which certainly helps out things for me. But that's beside the point. Since I don't like cinematic, though, that doesn't help. And then you add a haunted doll, which that doesn't help, especially a haunted doll that's just been sitting there on a swing for 2 months, and we're all supposed to be scared of it. I'm not buying it. And Alexa Bliss has not been in a real program other than sitting there creating empty threats to the entire women's division, and we finally get her focusing in on a particular female wrestler. The only good thing I could say about this, if I'm trying to find something to grasp at, is that Shayna Baszler's finally out of the tag team division, it seems like. Her and Nia have split, and seemingly split civilly. They're not going to have a program together. I think that's smart. I don't know. I don't want to see it because they're both heels. But Shayna Baszler is on her own now, which is what we've all been asking for, I, myself included. So she's solo. I think she does her best work solo. But the problem with that is, as I argue with myself, is, well, she's now in a program where she's scared of dolls. And she's backstage and she's kicking mirrors to get the reflection of Lily out of her head. I don't know. I want to see more than anything the follow-up to this on Monday night, because this was critically destroyed by fans. I think I would say 80 to 90% of the things I saw on social media towards this were just destroying this segment. So is that perhaps one thing you can take away, though, is that Shayna Baszler is at least on her own now?
I mean, man, I'm be honest, I don't like it. Shayna Baszler's career is in jeopardy currently. Let's be honest. This can ruin her career. We're not talking about a program where she looks bad. We're talking about a program where she could get buried. Shayna Baszler needs to stay away from Alexa Bliss. This is not good for her at all. I'd prefer to see it with Nia Jax, to be honest, compared to this. You're going to lose Shayna Baszler. We lost Bray Wyatt, and granted, we know now that, he's dealing with issues, and that's fine. Everybody has mental, problems from time to time, and his friend close to him. I totally get that. But Alexa has not did Bray Wyatt any favors. This doll is going to end Shayna Baszler's career. Like I said, I would pull Shayna away from this as quick as possible.
Yeah, I guess that is the one massive downside. Even though she's alone, I think everyone knows the outcome is going to be Alexa Bliss goes over, and then where does Shayna go? You're right, and she's going to be running around scared for the next 2 weeks or whatever, or maybe Hell in a Cell is where it ends. I don't know.
And think about it.
Yeah,
Shayna Baszler's already 17-17, 50-50 booking at its best. That's all they think of her. She's going to end up being a jobber. And that's crazy to say.
Yeah.
I know people like, what? Shayna Baszler? Braun Strowman just got fired. don't think it's beyond the realm of possibilities for Shayna Baszler to become a jobber.
That would be a damn shame. I think Shayna Baszler's got a lot to offer, but like you said, actually, there really isn't someone worse that they could put Shayna with now that I'm thinking, because Shayna Baszler's a serious, got a legit MMA credentialed background, and you're putting her with somebody that she has to act scared with, and that will immediately undermine her character and what her character is about. And Alexa's going to go over. We know this. So, yeah, this is, given the choice of destroying Shayna Baszler's career or seeing her back with Nia Jax, I think we all know that we choose back with Nia Jax. So, okay, I think the follow-up on Monday is going to be absolutely, just fascinating to see whether or not they respond to the fan criticism or just say, F you, fans. We're going to continue with the hocus pocus. I'm very interested to see. But, okay, well, let's continue on here. Let me go back to Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins this past week was on Ding Dong Hello, Bailey's talk show. WWE loves them some talk shows, whether it's the KO show or Jericho's show. Carlito had a show at one point, Cutting Edge, the Peep show with Christian. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross had a talk show. They just, for whatever reason, somebody's in love with the talk show format. So Bailey has hers, and fine, whatever. And we get guest host or guest appearance by Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins comes out. Seth Rollins and Bailey laugh together about Bianca Belair, and then laugh about Cesaro getting beat up. And then, oh boy, I'm kind of mixed on this segment myself. But Cesaro, you hear a ding dong, and someone's at the door, and Cesaro's at the door, which that's the part I have the biggest problem with. Actually, is Cesaro playing along, and how did he get to the door with nobody seeing? And why is he playing like house with these two? I don't know. Instead of just coming through in like a man. But anyway, so he beats down Cesaro, or he beats down Seth Rollins pretty badly while he destroys Bailey's set. And then we get Bianca Belair coming out to just laugh at Bailey. So what did you think of this segment?
All right, man. For all the people that are listening, when you heard a knock on the door, was anybody like, who is that? Or did everybody know? I mean, that was that was my point. Like, I heard the knock, oh, this is Cesaro. Oh, you want to get it? Yes, I'll get it. It's your show. I can get it. I love Seth Rollins, though. Love it. He plays his role. Seth Rollins is the drip god. He's the drip king. Boy, hey, his fashion sense, for the people who don't know drip, that's fashion, that's swag, that's, those type of verbiage or nouns or whatever, not big on English. But anyway, Seth Rollins, he's playing his role. I love him. He's them eyes. I don't know if it's the eyes. I don't know if it's how he talks, his dress. It just fits him. I wasn't big on the segment because, all that laughing don't do it for me. I get it. Bailey's doing a new thing. It's different. Hey, some people like it. Some people don't like it. I'm not too big on it. I like Bianca. She's doing good right now. I'm getting tired of WWE because they're doing it with both their women's champions. Both of the women's champions are playing a similar role as the rookie. And they have veterans playing I'm the vet role, and I'm going to take advantage of you. And that's really getting kind of old because you see it on both shows. So that's my biggest sticker point with the whole situation with the titles and with the promo as well. So I give it a 2.5 stars.
Yeah, I think it ultimately did serve the purpose it was out to set, meaning you were happy about, most people were anyway, about Cesaro getting some revenge on Seth. Seth, again, plays his part very well. The outfits he comes out with every week are just absolutely, I mean, that's actually one of the things I look forward to, is to see the most ridiculous thing that he could wear possible, whether it's the I don't know, loafers with no socks, or leather, everything. I mean, he just doesn't care, and it's hilarious. I mean, I'm not knocking him for it. I think it's a good thing, but yeah, this segment to me it served its purpose, right? I mean, you got Bianca getting some kind of retribution, albeit just laughing. You got Cesaro getting a little bit of revenge on Seth Rollins, and it leads to a match presumably at Hell in a Cell. Now that you touched on Bianca, though, I would have to say Bianca, if you were going to compare her side by side with Rhea, I think feels much, much more like a champion than Rhea Ripley has been feeling, or how she's been presented, than Bianca. I think Bianca has been booked fairly well compared to Rhea Ripley on Raw, who just feels like they don't know what the heck to do with her. It feels like Rhea Ripley is a heel 1 minute, a babyface the next, but kind of in between, and they don't know. And you have Charlotte Flair chasing Rhea Ripley, Nikki Cross kind of the super underdog babyface in the middle of this. What's your take on the Raw side of the women's division?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm pretty sure I'm a little higher on Rhea Ripley as champion than most people, because let's rewind back to right before WrestleMania when Rhea Ripley came up to face Asuka. Everybody, including myself, was high on this. This is the wave. This is the move. Everybody said, yes, put the belt on Rhea. We tired of Asuka. She's not doing much with it. We tired of Asuka. Rhea Ripley, granted, they're not booking her like they should, because she went into WrestleMania heel. You know, she was supposed to be the heel. Asuka was supposed to be the face. And then the next day, you try to bring back a super heel, Charlotte Flair, for them to have a triple threat. So obviously Asuka's the face, Charlotte's the heel, and Rhea's the tweener. So that puts her in a bad situation. You know, you don't know whether to like her, whether to not to like her. I like her personally, but that was short-term booking. They booked her to be a monster heel, but here comes the real monster heel in Charlotte, who's doing a great job. Now I'm pretty sure a lot of people disagree with me. I hope Rhea beats Charlotte at Hell in a Cell. I hope she retains. I hope they run this out to SummerSlam, and then Charlotte can take the belt from her. But I do feel like Rhea has earned the opportunity to hold the belt, and she's doing the best she can with it, with a super heel Charlotte who's just playing her role.
She is. Charlotte is playing a role, and the thing is, we all know it's inevitable that Charlotte gets the belt back, probably sooner than later. I think that in normal circumstances, I would get the belt off Rhea quickly and kind of do some repair on her. And at least when I say repair, I don't think she's an unpolished performer. I just don't think that what they've done with her has maximized her strengths. Like, she's good on the mic. Obviously, we know her in-ring ability. She had some kind of clunker matches with Asuka. That she's cleaned that up. She's gotten better, at least in my eyes, on Raw. I've seen her in NXT. But she did not have a good match, especially compared to Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair at WrestleMania, which is almost unfair to compare. But I don't think that they've done a nice job with her character. I don't like the flip-flopping and back and forth and not knowing what to do. I think that creates ambiguity and it creates indifference. I don't want to feel indifferent about the Raw Women's Champion. At the same time, Asuka, who was inexplicably ignored for 6 months, 6 months to more, 6 to 10 months, as Raw Women's Champion, buried on the roster, completely ignored, forgotten that she had a championship. If given the two options, of course I would choose Rhea to be champion. And yes, we did. We were excited about Rhea versus Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship at WrestleMania. And I was in support of that. And now we're seeing that follow-up is extremely important. Yes, you can get a result, but the question then becomes, well, what do you do with it? How do you follow up on that? It's not just about how do you get there. It's once you get there, what do you do? And it feels like what they've done with her, it just feels like it's not a solid path for her. It feels just kind of like she hasn't found her footing. Maybe that's the best way to put it. Her footing, it kind of feels uneven, and I don't know what to do with her. And maybe that changes over time, and maybe they do have a longer-term plan for her. So you're right. With a WrestleMania victory, I always like those to stick at least for 6 months through SummerSlam. Perhaps they do keep the belt on her, even against the superhero of Charlotte, and then they move on to maybe, I don't know, whatever is beyond SummerSlam. I didn't even look, Night of Champions or something beyond that. Maybe they do drop it then. And so perhaps there is a bigger plan. I feel very kind of just don't know what to feel for Rhea. I like her as a performer. She's got a great look. She's good on the mic, although they haven't been able to give her lines or whatever. Being able to show that hasn't come through on camera anyway. And she's really good in the ring. She's got every tool. I just feel like I haven't seen that full potential yet.
And I totally agree. But that's a creative problem. You know, I really think they brought in to be the monster heel. And I don't know why nobody thought, hey, Charlotte's coming back. She's going to be our monster heel. And I think that's the problem. Honestly, Rhea, she's done what she needed to do as champion. As a person, she's done what she can. I agree. I don't think they're booking her well, and they are putting her in that tweener situation, which is not good for her character, and that's the problem. And creative has to clean that up. But I think Rhea Ripley herself, I think she's doing all she can do.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, when I'm criticizing this, it's not on. I'm not criticizing Rhea Ripley, who I think is more than ready to be on the quote main roster. I think she has all the tools, as I said. It comes down to this creative that they've given her. For example, when not this past week, but the week before, when they were talking about Hell in a Cell and I'll see you at Hell, and then I think Rhea comes out and she says, "You can go to hell." It's like, that's so scripted. Like, that's too cute of a line, and it came from a writer's brain. I don't like that kind of crap. It feels like they're just micromanaging her every step rather than just giving her a longer leash and say, you know what, go, do your character. Just make sure you hit this bullet, this bullet, this bullet. We know you're good in the ring. Go. It just feels so it's a micromanaged version of Rhea Ripley. That's maybe why I don't like it. And I don't know what to think right now. So perhaps that leash gets a little bit looser as the time goes on, and I hope it does. But I don't know.
And
go ahead.
I'm sorry. And also they making, which is another problem, Charlotte Flair is an established star. I mean, we all know that. 14-time woman champion, the greatest woman to ever do it.
She's the opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah, she's the opportunity. Love it. The problem is they're making her look too strong. I mean, monster heels can look weak. And they let her give Rhea the natural selection when Rhea should have gave her the Riptide. We can see Rhea being, she needs to look dominant. It needs to look as if she can beat Charlotte. She did it in a triple threat, and Charlotte wasn't even involved in the decision. So I feel like they're positioning Rhea wrong.
It could be. Yeah. They this past week, yeah, I do know the spot you're talking about, and I think that lack of strength that we're seeing, at least booking wise, from Rhea Ripley does not help. At the same time, Charlotte Flair is on a comeback of her own. I mean, we're looking at this in kind of a vacuum, but Charlotte Flair by herself, since her return, has been generally on fire. Her promo she came back with was one of the best I've ever seen from her. She's changed up her look a little bit. She's wearing the Cruella DeVille outfit stuff, and that's fine. All those little things add up, though, to me. And her in-ring style is still good, very good, to excellent at times. There's no problem there. She's such the alpha female, though, of the entire Raw women's division. It's so obvious because she's, like you said, an established star. She knows who she is. Fans know who she is. Fans know what she's capable of. Fans know she's going to get the belt back eventually. It's just a matter of how long can we hold it off, right? Like, the ocean's coming. How big of a sandcastle can we make to hold off those waves, right? Like, and eventually, that you're in a losing battle from the beginning. Like, you're going to lose. But let's see how long we can keep the ocean or Charlotte away in that analogy. But yeah, I wouldn't mind them booking Rhea a little bit stronger. I have no problem with that. But I'd rather not even stronger. I want character development beyond. She's the kind of the goth, different looking girl. Like, if people have not seen Rhea Ripley before, and that's the assumption I'm going with people that don't watch NXT, maybe you've heard the name, but you have to assume that not everyone has seen you. And you have to go on that assumption. It would be silly to just go, everyone knows who you are. You don't need to really do a whole lot of development. No, you have to start really from ground zero. I want to know about Rhea Ripley. Why is she here? What's her background? Give me some depth. And I think that's really a common problem throughout the entire WWE product. And look at Braun Strowman, for God's sakes. And we'll get to him a little bit later about his release, at least your thoughts. But with Braun Strowman, you talk about a one-dimensional character. A guy that's just angry and destroys stuff. That's it. That's all we knew, like, for his entire career. So I don't know. I think character development to me would be number one for Rhea.
And yeah, they need to work on that aspect of her, and I totally agree. But that starts with strong booking. I mean, I'm just gonna be honest. I think that's the number one problem. Yes, they need to work on her character development. Now on Braun, and I know this is probably an unpopular opinion too. I didn't have a problem with his character development. I don't think everybody needs a deep backstory. I don't think every wrestler needs me to feel, oh, you went through this in your life, or oh, your favorite color is this. I don't need that. Braun Strowman is a wrecking machine. He's mad all the time. There's people in life who are just mad all the time. You don't know why. They don't know why. They're just angry. They spit, they slobber, they scream, they yell, they slam, they pick up heavy stuff. That's what they do. That's Braun Strowman. He needs no extra. I didn't need an extra character from him. He's not deep. He don't need to be deep. I think what you see is what you got. And I think Rhea Ripley is kind of in that same predicament. I know this is an unpopular opinion. You know, some people need a character like Damian Priest. He needs character development. You know, I like Bad Bunny. I like what they did, but that did no favors for him. And if you've seen him in NXT, from what you're getting today, those are two totally different iterations of each other. And he's in trouble.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point too, Damian Priest. My goodness. Yeah, he's since the Bad Bunny thing. I mean, I eat my words about how Bad Bunny didn't. You know, I thought he was going to be an embarrassment at WrestleMania. We all know he wasn't. I still don't like the storyline, and especially celebrities constantly going over every time they visit WWE. I think it makes everybody in WWE look like a fool. But Bad Bunny certainly busted his ass, and I give him all the credit in the world for just absolutely just jaw-dropping performance for the time he was given and everything else. So absolute credit to him. But yeah, Damian Priest is still, you know, talk about it, a fall from grace with him. It's not a good look for him. But all right, I want to shift gears because otherwise, I mean, we won't get out of here for hours. I don't want to do that. So, Big E, Kevin Owens, Apollo Crews, and Sami Zayn in their tag team match here. First of all, I thought this was a really good match. I really, really enjoyed this. I actually thought, and this may be an opinion that I most don't agree with, and how about that? I thought this was pay-per-view quality. Not that it was a classic. It was just, if they stuck this on a pay-per-view, I would have been like, that's totally passable and respectable and a really good match. But I don't know how you could expect anything less from four absolute professionals. And I really loved what they did here. Yes, Kevin Owens went over. He hit the stunner on Sami Zayn and beat Sami Zayn to win the match for his team with Big E. And then at the end of the match, we have Apollo Crews getting his heat back by saying, I didn't win or I didn't lose, and it was because of this idiot Sami Zayn. And then Sami Zayn gets the Nigerian nail, also known as a Samoan spike. And then we get a announcement that next week it's going to be Apollo Crews and Commander Aziz versus Kevin Owens and Big E for really the in-ring debut of Commander Aziz in a tag team match next week. So were you high on this match, and what do you think about next week with Commander Aziz?
Great match. I mean, it was honestly a good hard-hit match, but honestly, we talking about four wrestlers who bring it night in and night out. So I was very high on the match. Sami Zayn funny. That Nigerian nail is bad. I love it. Hey, everybody who keeps saying the Samoan spike or talking about it, it's the Nigerian nail now. We watch wrestling, we can change names.
Yes, we can.
The Nigerian nail. Hey, I love how people sell it. Honestly, Kevin Owens selling it is so funny. I love it. But the match was great. I think they're pushing Commander Aziz a little earlier. A little early. I do feel like I liked him in his role as just being the protector. But, maybe he's great in the ring. We'll see soon. I'm looking forward to it. I'm pretty sure it's going to be some type of hanky-janky going on. It's going to be a good match.
Yeah, it is. And the one thing I'll say, too, if I was going to put any negative on this, anything, I mean, it's hard because I love all four of these guys in the ring. I think I could watch like a fatal four-way ladder match with these four, and it would be, I think, an instant classic, given the work rate of these four men, the experience between these four men. I would love it. Any combination of these four is great. So we'll see with Commander Aziz what he brings to the ring next week, which I would assume is nowhere near the style of these four men, given his size and limitations. But it's still fine. Not everyone needs to look the same in their style in the ring, which I think is another bit of a problem in WWE that everyone kind of feels the same. Everyone's got the same moves other than their finish. Anyway, the one thing I was going to say is Big E. We understand that obviously he's not going to get revenge on Aleister Black for getting Black Mass a couple weeks ago. I mean, we know that. But can he please stop referencing New Day? Can he just at least change his colors a little? Can he stop doing the New Day clap in the middle of his match? Is it just muscle memory? Is it just out of habit that he's doing these things? I don't think it's doing any favors for him because he's supposed to be on his own, having his own run. I know he's not in a high-profile match right now. I know that they probably have plans for him down the line. Probably next in line to challenge, maybe challenge Roman Reigns, although maybe they wait later down the line for that. We'll see. But he is certainly a future contender for Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. But I need him, if he's going to get there, stop connecting yourself to the New Day. You're not in the New Day anymore. You are on a separate brand. Drop the colors, drop the New Day clap, drop the act. Just he doesn't have to be a totally new character. Just distance yourself from it, man. Otherwise, you're just going to be still looked at as the guy that's part of the New Day. So that's the one thing I'll say.
I guess you didn't know New Day rocks.
That's the clap. I couldn't get it in my head. That's what it was. Thanks. Yeah.
Oh Lord,
that's a new thing.
New Day rocks. But I totally agree. Big E, he does need to distance himself from the New Day, and I'm not saying he needs to be mean or the new Braun Strowman,
right?
But I agree, he does need to get away from New Day colors. And I don't know Big E personally. I'm not big on interviews, but I don't know if he likes his iteration, if he wants to change his iteration, or if this is WWE saying, "Hey, you need to stay in this iteration." What do you think is the combination of why he's still in his New Day persona, even though he's on a separate brand, and even though he's changed his music?
I think a lot of it is creative. He hears the criticisms loud and clear. He's shown signs of him able to be serious. I mean, he cut a really serious promo against Apollo Crews a month or two ago. I think it might have even been before the WrestleMania match. I can't remember because they've been fighting each other for so long now. But he's shown glimmers of hope that he can be something other than just this wacky pancake throwing, gyrating big man that's great in the ring. I mean, so it's there, but I think it's mostly creative. We don't know. Obviously, we would just be sitting here speculating because we have no idea. We're not involved in the production meetings. We're not in his head. We have no idea the conversations he's having with Vince are creative. But if I was to just kind of ponder a guess, I would say that it's mostly creative because when they have something they don't know what to do with, they go back to what brought them to the dance. They go back to what they are comfortable in, their comfortability zone, even though it's a kiss of death. They go back to what they know works. And it's the Big E. He's doing the clap. It's just it's kind of a placeholder because they don't know what they want that Big E character to be. I don't know if Big E does, but it's so hard to say because it's all speculative. Again, I would put most of it on creative, but who knows? Either way, he is a future contender for the Universal Championship. I think we can both agree on that.
And we can, and I want all the fans to take a second right now. Let's take Big E. Now, I know it's like a backseat driver. Everybody sees better if they're not in the room. I'm being honest. I don't know if I know what to do with Big E and what his iteration of his character should become. I think that is a hard question. What would you have his iteration be? Because honestly, I don't know. I don't know. He can't be the strong, angry guy. He's going to keep his preacher talk and his laugh and zaniness. I mean, if he's still zany and doesn't acknowledge New Day, that's not helping him either because he's still New Day.
Right.
So I think, what would you do? Because I wouldn't know what to do with it.
Well, what I would do is I would take baby steps, really small baby steps. In other words, what I would do is keep his music the same. I mean, at least he's not coming out to the New Day music. At least I don't think he did this week. He actually has his own established singles music. First thing I would do, though, is strip him of colors. the New Day colors. Like, pick a color. Even, it doesn't have to be black. Like, we don't have to go with the serious black, tone. It could be, I don't know, dark blue, right? Like, but don't do the rainbow references. I know it's Pride Month, but I don't need rainbow references for really tying back to the New Day. That's what's one thing. But if it was nothing else, maybe just for a few weeks, changes attire a little bit, and then maybe changes in ring style. It's not to where it's completely different, but just have the announcers drive home. Wow, this Big E's never done that before. He's got a different look in his eye. Just kind of just plant seeds here and there for little stuff. Now, do I know what that ultimate end game is? What do I see with Big E? That's a tough question. Like you said, I don't know, but what I would know is I would get the answer possibly along the way by adjusting these things on camera. And sometimes on camera will give you answers to that next step. I think that's the way I would do it.
I like that. The only thing I do is turn them heel, but it seems like when WWE wants to save somebody's character, they turn them heel and it works. So turn them heel.
we got a heel shortage, so that's a good idea.
Yes.
Oh gosh. But it's credit to all four men. This was a really, I was bell to bell involved in this match, and I was thinking to myself, am I just why am I so into this match? And typically it's just another tag team match. No, this was really good. I loved the chemistry between these four. Commander Aziz, again, we'll see what we got here. I actually want to see Kevin Owens hit him with a stunner. I want to see Commander Aziz get his, and that's the success measurement of a storyline that's working. I want to see Commander Aziz get his ass kicked, and that's the good thing. So we'll have to see. And you talk about a revived career with Apollo Crews. Man, oh man, that guy has completely shifted his career by just adding an accent and bringing up his Nigerian heritage. It's unbelievable, and I'm really happy for him.
And it's crazy the flack he got the first week he did it. Now it's full circle and it's great.
Right.
I loved it from day one. Honestly, it's great. His accent is spot on. He is so funny. He plays his role. I know I say that a lot, but he plays his role. He does what he's supposed to do. Commander Aziz does his thing. One thing, WWE, can we stop a podcast, people? Can we stop saying Commander Aziz, aka Davocato? He changed his name. Mm-hmm. We're moving on.
Well,
but
yeah,
he plays his role great. Quick question. I don't like the stunner on Kevin Owens. Do you?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, Stone Cold, we all know, obviously, was adopted from Austin. I'm fine with it because he can hit it on anybody, right? You want to finish that, you can hit on anybody. He can't hit Commander Aziz with a pop-up powerbomb, or some bigger guys. It would be much more difficult to hit your finish on. So I'm fine with it from that perspective. I understand that Austin was it was his baby, and it is the most recognized finish of all time in professional wrestling, and he got the blessing from Austin. I mean, he has said that he called Stone Cold and had a conversation about it. And I think Stone Cold told him, if you're going to do it, kid, do it right. And, it doesn't look like Stone Cold. He's not doing it exactly the way Austin did it. But he's not Stone Cold. You're never going to get it exact. I mean, only Austin can do Austin. I'm fine with it. I know that you're not a fan of it, but for a babyface character of Owens, you talk about the ultimate babyface move of hitting a stunner. I mean, look what the pop he got from hitting Logan Paul at WrestleMania with the stunner was one of the biggest pops of the night. Maybe if he goes back heel, he gets rid of the stunner and goes back to the pop-up powerbomb, because the stunner is so over as a baby face move. But I'm okay with it. I think the only time I did have a problem with the stunner being used was when John Cena was doing it. At the springboard stunner that he just could not do. He was so robotic with it. It was just bad, and he eventually dropped it. But I'm okay with it.
I don't think he looks ugly when he does it. I don't think he does the move justice. And I'm gonna be honest. every move has been done by somebody. So I get it. Moves are borrowed, you of course to borrow it. But I feel like some moves, Seth Rollins in the pedigree, Kevin Owens in the stunner, I feel like some moves, some wrestlers just make that move so famous that it's like, hey, I can't really, I shouldn't do that, even though they do, and even though they get permission, versus the figure four, which that's a heel move. Heels love that move. It works. But the stunner, the pedigree, those was made ultra famous. Next, people gonna do the rock bottom, aka the booking. I just think some moves should be, how they retire numbers, they retire some moves.
I think there is an argument to be made to take moves that are so iconic and leave them with the icons that made them famous, like the super kick, right? Like Shawn Michaels' Sweet Chin Music. And sadly, that is one of the most used moves as a transitional move in WWE. It's a travesty how often Shawn Michaels' finish is used, and I understand Dolph Ziggler has adopted it, kind of in a wink and nod to the fact that people have called him the next Shawn Michaels. So he's like, well, I might as well be HBK. So he's at least adopted it as a finish, but everyone else uses it as a transition or a near fall. When in reality, if someone hits you with that move, I mean, you talk about a knockout shot under your chin, someone kicking you under. I mean, it's a knockout shot, and it should be a finish. But yes, should some finishes possibly, is there an argument to be made to protect them? The stunner, the rock bottom, the pedigree, the tombstone. And yes, there is an argument to be made. But I think that creative has said, well, guys, it's a really over move, the most popular babyface move of all time. It would help out Kevin Owens in this instance. It's been, how many years since Austin's last match? Like 18 years since Austin's last match in 2003. Why not bring it back, allow him to recycle the move, and hopefully build some fan support? I think that's their thinking. Would I have done it? I actually wouldn't have. I actually would have said, no, come up with your own finish, because that's Austin's. So I don't, now that I've seen it, and I've seen it long enough, I don't hate it, but I understand why they do it.
Yeah, and I get it, but like I said, it's some moves that I kind of, what we're gonna do when people start doing the tombstone.
Oh God.
And then when people are not doing it to the level of success or to the level of viewing power that the original person had, like DDP did the cutter before Randy Orton. We know that. But the way Randy Orton does that RKO, I can come from anywhere at any time, drop you right here where you stand. I never want to see somebody outside of Riddle, because it's cool, they work together. I never want to see somebody do the RKO as their permanent finisher. That just shouldn't happen. That move is too over. And don't piggyback off a legend's success with a move and say, hey, I need to get over. This will get me over. I think that's lazy. That's lazy booking.
I hear you. Again, I'm not a huge supporter of this, but I just understand why they did it. Again, I will stand by it. Would I have done this? No. I would have told Kevin, stick with your pop-up powerbomb or come up with something else. I'd also like Big E to get rid of the big ending, because that's one of the. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, look, I love Big E in the ring. He's so good, and on the mic, he's all he's a cartoon character, and we talked about him. But do you agree that Big E should come up with a different finish, or am I in the minority here?
Oh no! That finish, it. I tell you this, I bet it's comfortable for the person taking it.
Oh, they probably love it. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Hit me with that.
Yeah.
And if honestly, Big E, I wouldn't want him to jump through that rope and knock me off the side of the ring onto the floor. That looks like it really hurt. Like that, you can't fake that.
I hold my breath every time he does that. Yeah.
Yes. That's a concussion waiting to happen. But nevertheless, yeah, the big ending, it sucks in comparison to how big he is. He needs a big finish, and that is not a big ending.
It's really ironic, or kind of a twist of fate, pun intended, that it's it was such a strong guy that can bench. I mean, he can. I think he's held like the bench record among the boys in the back. I forget how much he can bench, like 575 or some insane amount of weight that he can bench. He's the strongest guy on the roster, and yet he does a finish that anyone can do. I mean, the women can do it. I could do it. It's such a, I don't know. It's so weak looking. And it's just a flapjack, but he's also protecting the guy going down, and it's obvious he's protecting the guy going down. It's bad. I mean, Big E needs to just maybe that's one of the small tweaks I was talking about. Change your finish. I know that's easier said than done, but come up with something. Come up with something that maybe no one's using right now. I don't want a recycled one, but I don't know. Maybe that's one of those things. So okay.
Let him do the rock bottom.
Oh God, no! And it will no. Oh God. All right. Well, you did touch a little bit on Randy Orton and Riddle. Are you enjoying them together as RK Bro?
I love it. And the reason why I love it is perfect. Me and you, which I'm assuming from what I've been hearing, you love it too. We love it for two total different reasons. You can't stand Riddle. I can't stand Randy. And we both love the same thing from each other's person's perceived like. Like you like the Randy Orton portion of it. Yep. I like the Riddle portion of it. The key thing is funny to me. It's hilarious. I did kind of see a little shake in the RK Bro, like when he threw the key in the trash and, when he came out there and Riddle did play with Kofi. And I'm upset that Riddle lost. I really feel like they should have put the loss on Kofi. So the stuff the MVP told him kind of could have sucked in a little deeper, possibly. But I loved it. I was up here rooting for him. He did the DDT. I'm like, yes. Randy, finish him. He like, no, I ain't ready yet. And he tried to do the Randy. It just didn't work. I like it, though. I like they camaraderie together. I think it's a good match.
It was. And I actually thought they were going to win the Tag Team Battle Royal. I don't know why I was sucked into believing that. I thought for sure, that they were going to win. And they were the only ones that got entrances on the show. I mean, everyone else was already in the ring, and you're like, oh, well, they're clearly going to give the victory to the people they actually cared about giving an entrance to. So they didn't. And then he lost later in the night. Was it Randy that lost later in the night as well?
Riddle
did, yeah. So you got two losses under the belts, and you're thinking to yourself, oh, God, this is Randy's going to lose it, and he's going to RKO Riddle. And they didn't. Nothing happened except Randy just took the key from Riddle's mouth and put it in his pocket and walked away, or he threw the key or something. I forget what he did with the key this week.
Threw it in the tray.
Threw it in the tray. And so we're all waiting for the shoe to drop, meaning we're all waiting for that RKO to be hit on Riddle. And I don't want it to happen for as long as possible. I think that they've caught lightning in a bottle here. I think it's one of those stories that WWE didn't anticipate the chemistry being as good as it has been when they turned that red light on, and it has been really good. And you're right. You like it for the exact opposite. Well, you like it actually for the same reason, just opposite people. And I love when they're together. They feed off each other so well. And it's the yin to the yang. And Randy doesn't say a whole lot. You can tell he's annoyed by Riddle. Kind of that younger brother, you better shut your mouth and give me the key. And the body language of Randy Orton is spot on. The complete opposite of Riddle being this flamboyant, kind of over the top, talkative, talking nonsense, bombastic character. It's a great combination. So do you think that they're going to string this out for a while, or do you actually think that somebody's going to turn on somebody sooner than later?
Well, if we're looking at the tag team division right now, with the few amount of teams that they have, if we notice the Battle Royal, it was just 4 complete teams and 2 people who both partners was injured. So just from that fact, I think they'll try to let them stay together for a while. I love it. I love their camaraderie. Now, do they win the championship is the question, because they did push the Viking Raiders, which I like. They look good together. I love the big guy, Ivar. He be moving. Eric be moving. They have great camaraderie together, great tag team. I do think they deserve to push. I'd love to see Omos, I guess, come in and destroy them again. But I think that's our question. Everybody wants to see RK Bro versus AJ and Almost. But can they do anything with Big Almost, or are they gonna keep him the dominant force that wipes out everybody? That's the question, and I don't know the answer to that.
Well, you're right. I don't think there's any dispute that that's the matchup that we're waiting to see, because AJ and Omos are booked as the heel team. Randy Orton has kind of by default turned babyface without changing anything in his character, which I like, with Riddle, because they're so entertaining as a team. So eventually those two teams are going to collide for the Raw Tag Team Championships. I don't think there's any doubt. I understand the Viking Raiders have won and they're going to get an opportunity. I think they're going to lose, even though I like the focus on them. It's nice to see them in the ring doing what they do. They look and feel like a real tag team. They're probably the most tag teamish of all the tag teams, true tag teams on Raw. Not just two solo guys that got stuck together, but rather two guys that came up. They have matching outfits. They have the chemistry, all a whole nine yards. But that said, they're going to probably lose to AJ and Omos. I don't think there's any question there. I could be wrong, but eventually it's going to be Matt Riddle and Orton, I think, carrying those championships. I actually think they will win them. AJ may go off on his own, which I know people have been asking for. And then I think that eventually, once Riddle and Orton drop the belts, maybe that's when you see a turn, is when they, one of them, loses the match, they lose the belts, and then the other one turns.
And I can see that. I think that is probably more than likely what happens. Obviously, with the turn, losing the belt, blaming the other partner. Yeah, that's totally WWE. But my question would be, when AJ and Omos, when they drop the belts, what's next for Omos? Are they going to try to do the Kevin Nash and Shawn Michaels and push him to the moon? Or is this going to be AJ's time to shine again?
I think this is where you would wait for the crowd to come back, because I would wait for the audience to hear what they have to say about this team. And really you could say that for everything going on in wrestling as a whole, for the entire WWE. You could say, before we make our decision, guys, let's go back on the road. Let's get a sample of what the fans are thinking and feeling with this, instead of just being able to just do what you want. It doesn't matter because we control the narrative. We control the crowd noise. That's going away in a month. Thank the good Lord, because I can't wait to hear real people and not just, manufactured noise that they get to be God, control what we are, quote, saying about the product. So that would, to me, be a wait and see approach. I really would wait and see, because I don't want Omos going out there being lost on his own. I like his chemistry with AJ. Perhaps they stick together, but if they don't, right now he is kind of the Kevin Nash of WWE. Very limited moveset, but he's a massive dude. I can't expect it. I mean, I'm not knocking him on it. Of course he's going to have a limited moveset. The guy is, you talk about a presence though. The guy has such a presence. I mean, he's a guy I would never ever want to be walking alone on a road and come encounter with him. He is so intimidating. And I love his look. I think he's got a good future. Do I think it's eventually going to end with a world championship? Probably not. I don't know. It depends how good he is in the ring and eventually what he does solo on the mic. But I don't think Omos is ready to go solo. So let me just say that. I don't think he's anywhere near ready yet. So maybe he does stick with AJ until they feel he's ready and then they split.
And I agree. Omos, he's a big guy, and he moves like a big guy, and I give him this. He looks as flawless as I think possible, especially for somebody as new as him. I mean, he looks good. Obviously, he's gonna have a limited move set, and AJ Styles, obviously, his career is not gonna last 5 more years. I see AJ Styles in the future becoming an MVP role. I think he's gonna make a great manager. I can't wait to see AJ do that. He's great on the mic. He's phenomenal, honestly, and I think he is somebody that WWE is not valuing like they should. They put the tag belts on him, and as I said in the mailbag, it's not really good for him. It's good for Omos. It's real good for him, but for AJ, I mean, it's good for him too. It gets him another tag team title. He's got a belt, but I mean, he takes a lot of punishment, especially at his age. and he's got to be the guy always hot tagging. But, his tag team is set up like that, and I get that as well. I just hate it for him. Hopefully he gets one more run in, but I see him a future great manager one day.
A manager that can also take bumps like MVP. I mean, he would take great bumps when he needs to and be a heel mouthpiece. I think. He could play both. I mean, he's been a heel for a while, so maybe he could be a babyface manager. I think that's still a couple of years away. I think AJ probably has 1 to 2 years left, and then he's going to hang up the boots. That's my guess. But it's nice that he's in a tag team for this reason, that he can share the bumps, so to speak. I know that almost isn't going to take, or do like a Spanish fly off the top, but I'm just saying that he has somebody to share the bumps with when you're in a tag team match. It saves mileage on his body that already has a ton of mileage on it. It helps bring up new stars. That's what you want to do at this age, in his stage in his career and age, is to help others get elevated. I mean, he's in the give back portion of his career. I think we have stepped into that. We have stepped into the part where it's not really going to be about AJ. Maybe one more time, as you said, he might get one more run. But to me, he's in the give back stage of helping build that next big star or stars. He could be the head of a faction, but really it's about bringing up and elevating new talent. So yeah, he could have one more run with the belt, but I think if that happens, that'll be it. And then he'll go into an agent and or managerial role in the next probably 2 years. I would say 2 years would be the most.
And I agree, but the only problem, and we can use Randy and Riddle for comparison. AJ, at his age, is in the wrong tag team. He takes literally all the bumps. I haven't seen almost take a bump. Randy's on the other side of that, where Riddle takes most of the bumps, and he comes in and do the Randy Orton thing. That's the only thing I hate for AJ. He takes all the punishment. I mean, almost gets in there and kills everybody. Almost hasn't touched the match yet. His back hadn't hit the mat.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, he's helping build a star, but the number of bumps he's taking is almost equivalent to doing a singles match anyway with Omos, because Omos is such a huge dude. He's only going to come in and just dominate. I mean, Omos, has anyone even taken him off his feet yet? Has anyone even?
Nope.
No, right?
Nope.
Okay.
No, he's not touched the mat at all.
Oh boy, I hope he knows to flat back bump. I mean, the fact that he hasn't taken a bump, it makes sense though. Like, I'm cool with it because he should. If they envision him being a mega star down the line, when someone does come along and takes him off his feet, you can say that's the first time ever. They love them some historic first time ever moments. They could add that to Omos's resume of whoever takes him down. And imagine once they build him staring down Brock Lesnar, right? I mean, I'm just, I'm kind of spitballing here, but Omos does have the potential to eventually be that kind of attraction star, rather than he'll never be known as a workhorse, right? Like, he's never going to be a guy that you look at and go, oh man, I love his in-ring style. He just brings me into the match. He's an attraction. His size is an attraction, and that's not a bad thing. You can draw money as an attraction, but he's never going to be known as a technician. It's just not going to happen. So, all right. Any final thoughts before I move on?
Oh, no, go ahead.
Okay. Liv Morgan, Carmella. Liv Morgan gets the victory this week against Carmella, and another 50-50 booking scenario. I know it's only been 2 weeks, but last week Liv Morgan lost to Carmella. This week she beats Carmella. I don't really know what to think. I love what they're, if this leads to something with Liv, great. I want them to elevate new talent, especially Liv Morgan, who has been basically hidden in a tag team, unfortunately, with Ruby Riott. And if anyone noticed this week, and maybe you did, you seems like you're detail oriented, with her band on her leg, it said, I think it said something in reference to Ruby, but it said like RUB or RU something. I think it was in reference to Ruby Riott. But Liv Morgan gets the victory. Do you think this is leading to anything, number one? And number two, did you notice that on her leg?
I think, honestly, no. I didn't notice it. Liv Morgan don't do it for me at all. I don't want to come off controversial at all, but she don't do it for me. She was better off in the tag team. I'd have rather you kept Ruby Riott if you asked me out of the two. So, spoiler alert for the later conversation.
Oh,
But no, I don't particularly care for Ruby Riott. Carmella playing her role. You know, I ain't with all the dancing she does, but you know, she playing her role. I ain't got no problem with Carmella, but Liv Morgan, I'm not here for that.
yeah, no, I hear you. At the same time, have we even? This is called lack of character development again. We've gotten nothing from creative about Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott when she was there. I think Ruby, you would look at and go, was the bigger star. I mean, she looked different. I think she was a little bit better in the ring than Liv was. It seemed like she had momentum going at times, and then they'd cut it off and they'd stop. Liv Morgan was, I think, playing second fiddle, but she's the one that stayed. We don't know why. And we don't know anything about her. She's the generic blonde that has green glitter under her eyes. I mean, there's that's it. Like, she's just another blonde. They don't give her a voice. So without a voice, how do I know who you are, or why would I care if you win a match, right? So I don't know what to feel about this. I really don't. I don't know what this means for her career. I would assume she's a babyface here. With Carmella, I've said this before. If you heard my show, I don't like the over-sexualization of Carmella, or really when they do this with women at all. And again, I'm not this like pro-feminist, like, you know, it has nothing to do with politics. I'm watching wrestling to watch wrestling, and anytime they focus on the sexuality of the character, it tells me they have nothing, you know, deep to really tell you about her, other than just, cool, let me do a silhouette of a stripper dance, right? And then come out and talk about how beautiful I am. I get it's a heel move, but that shouldn't be the foundation for your character, is I'm beautiful and look at my body. Like, I don't know. I think it's just such a regression of what the women have tried to move away from, and Carmella's now re-embracing it. So maybe she should carry the Divas Championship next week. I don't know.
Hey, she could. They could bring it back just for her. I totally agree because, and from a different perspective, I'm a parent. My daughter likes to watch wrestling, and so I can't let her watch that.
Yep.
You know, that's horrible.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, women's wrestling has came way further than that. I mean, that's 90s grade crap.
It is. Yeah.
But hey, you know how Vinnie Mac, what he want to do. So, but I'm not here for that at all.
No. No, and I'm sure there's some guys out there, maybe probably younger, much younger, that are going, "Oh, this is so cool! Look how hot she is." I'm like, that is, I don't know. Like, if I want to see, you know, hot women, and I'm a married man, and I'm not, you know, not saying that, oh my God, I'm drooling over this, but look, if you're looking for that kind of thing, I'll just be very vague and say wrestling ain't the place to go to look for that. Okay, wrestling should be a place for wrestling. And that period, end of subject. I don't need any of that sexualization coming into wrestling. I don't think it adds anything, and I actually think it takes away. So, all right,
it takes away a lot, and that's like that evolution crap. You know, I'm not here for that.
I will say though, and I was actually going to ask you about that next. Evolution, it started out super sexual, and I criticized the hell out of it. And she's on a car showing off her body. Oh my, look how good my body looks. Essentially saying that without saying it. But then it kind of morphed into, and maybe per the backlash from fans, morphed into like more of her training, more of her, I guess she's a personal trainer, more of in-ring, her training in the ring. It actually did morph a little bit more into just, look how nice my body is, to, I put the work in, and I'm going to show you what I've got when I come back on Monday. So I hear you, and there is still that element of sexuality with Eva Marie Evolution, but at least they've kind of drove the narrative to like sports based and wrestling based. So there is that a little bit better.
You start off how you end. I mean, when you start off, especially if you're bringing back a wrestler or a new wrestler, first impression is everything. And my first impression of that is crap. Yeah, they tried to clean it up, and I agree. They probably did get a lot of backlash, and they tried to clean it up. But I already got a bad taste in my mouth for it. I'm pretty sure some people are looking forward to it. Not me.
Yeah, no, I'm not excited. Like, I actually did. Monday Night Raw. When I think of Monday Night Raw this Monday, I'm not going Evolution. No, I don't think anybody in this world is going. I can't wait for the Evolution debut. I really don't. Yeah. The one thing is that it'll add depth to the women's roster, and it does need that. So, okay, Chad Gable, Montez Ford. Chad Gable and Montez Ford, I think, put on a hell of a match on SmackDown. I really, really enjoyed this match too. SmackDown is just so much better. I mean, they had a great tag team match that we just discussed, and Ford versus Gable. I could watch these two. I mean, in a 60-minute Iron Man match, I would love these. They're so good together. Their styles are very similar. Ford is insanely athletic. You talk about a great amateur background with Gable. Of course, we know his Olympic accomplishments and things. But I loved this match. And beyond that, Otis, with a shaved face, comes out and destroys, I mean, to uncomfortable levels, Montez Ford. Dawkins tries to come back out and help, but Dawkins gets laid out again. And what is this, a rebirth of Otis? That's question one. And two, did you enjoy the match between Ford and Gable?
Before I get started talking about babyface Otis, question: did you see the botch finish of the match?
Which the botch finish? Oh yes! Wow! Oh, the botch finish where he hit from the heavens.
From the heavens, and Otis didn't make it in time,
and he had to kick out because he missed it. He missed it. Yeah, yeah.
And you seen the ref, like, she took her time to walk
trying to buy time for him. Yeah, that's right. Thank you for pointing that out. Yes,
but I did like the match. It was a good match. Montez Ford is a future star. I mean, and I hate to say Angelo Dawkins is gonna be the Martin Jannetty, but I'm telling you, Montez Ford is Shawn Michaels. He looks great. They're from the heavens. It's literally from the freaking heavens. And I love when he twisted. He didn't twist it this week, but I like when he does like that little half circle in the air before he hits you. I mean, great. Now, Otis, I'm going to be honest. Maybe it's just me, but some heels work better with facial hair. And I think him shaving his facial hair made him look a lot more soft. I mean, I'm going to be honest. He was angry. I'm not taking it serious because I'm looking at the beard. So for me, he was doing damage. I'll give him that. And he did damage. I love the Otis splash off the top. It's great. But the beard, it was just a distraction.
And I'm looking at a picture of him now, and with a shaved face. And I got to say, he looks. He doesn't look bad. I'll just say he does. He looks like he's an overgrown 16-year-old boy. He has a very young kind of look to him without the beard. And we'll have to see if we get used to it, or if it's as bad as like bald Shawn Michaels at the the Saudi Arabia event. I mean, like, if it's as distracting as that. I mean, and that is just. You talk about like one of the worst moments in Shawn's career. I mean, on so many levels with that match, that could be a whole nother show. But
what's worse, bald Shawn Michaels or Kane's wig falling off?
Oh, God. I forgot about that. Yeah, Kane's mask fell off. Oh my, that's right. He had to grasp for it. Oh gosh, I think they talked about it later about how terrible. I think was it Triple H who was on Austin's podcast. I forget. Somebody was just. Undertaker. I think it was Undertaker who was on the Broken Skull Sessions talking about that match, thinking that, well, it's four guys, we work so well together, we're four professionals, this will be a walk in the park, and it was one of the worst matches you'll ever see on so many levels. It wasn't Goldberg Taker bad, but it was tough to watch, especially given the absolute legends that all four of those guys are. So anyway. I don't know what to think about his facial hair. I'll give it a couple of weeks and see if I look at him and just laugh, or if I look at him and go, okay, I'm getting used to this. I don't know yet. I'll have to hear him talk. I want to hear him on the mic.
Well, I heard him on the mic on Talking Smack, and it doesn't get better.
It doesn't.
They got him looking up at the ceiling, and I get he's part of the Alpha Academy, and I get, I guess, Gable's supposed to be like this straight guy, and, clean face. Hey, that don't work for everybody. And I know they want to do something different with Otis, but I don't think that's the move.
Yeah, we'll see. I at least appreciate this. I appreciate them trying to change things up. Or Otis, whoever, just I would assume it was his own personal decision to shave his beard. I don't know. So even if it doesn't work, I give him credit, or them, or whoever's responsible, maybe both, for at least trying to change things up a little. Like, people love evolution of characters, even if it's the small things. So I appreciate the effort on it, even if it does turn out to be a flop and he has to wait, 8 to 12 months to grow his beard back.
That's like Braun when he shaved his head. It just never worked for me, at least.
I did. I actually liked it. You didn't like it?
What?
Yeah.
The Mohawk ponytail. That's Braun Strowman. The bald head Braun Strowman with the beard. It just didn't work for me.
Well, Braun Strowman actually shaved his beard too. I don't know if you've seen that Instagram picture floating around.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So go search for that. Braun Strowman did shave his beard. Yep.
No.
Yes. It's gone. So check that out.
Braun Strowman shaved his beard.
Yeah, not like a smooth cut. He's got it's just much shorter. It looks like he's grown it for like a month rather than 10 years. So
oh wow,
yeah, check it out. All right, this may be the only real low point of SmackDown that's been going on as I kind of close out SmackDown here. Shinsuke Nakamura and King Corbin, to me, like, I love Rick Boogs. I think he's infectious. I think he's got something. Him strumming the guitar and all that kind of stuff with Shinsuke is fine to me. I really don't have a problem with it. It also is making Shinsuke somewhat interesting, even though he's been kind of demoralized over the last several years in WWE, not getting a whole lot of opportunity outside of like a Roman Reigns tease a couple of months ago, and now he's just relegated to stealing people's personal property and caring about wearing like basically a Burger King crown, and caring that Baron Corbin cares about it because he believes he's a real king. I don't know. This is not a high point on SmackDown for me. Is it the worst thing I've seen? Is it Katie Vick bad? No, but it's just compared to everything else on SmackDown, this is just not good. Maybe you have a different take. What's your take?
Well, surprisingly, I do. I'm high on it. I really like it. This is no way comparable to Ricochet stealing Sheamus's.
His hat and yeah.
Yes, but I do like this. Shinsuke is the king of strong style. I love how he took the crown, went on Instagram, started shooting pics in the crown, making this a sticking point. I love Rick Boogs. That man can play. Good God Almighty.
Yes,
he comes out.
Yep.
As a wrestling fan, is popping. I'm dancing. I love Pat McAfee. Side note, Pat McAfee is great.
Isn't he?
That guy right there, the way he's always on. He's on top of the table. He's dancing. He's standing up during matches because he's so excited. I love it. But back on point, I like it. I like their little rivalry they got going. Shinsuke's great in the ring. I'm high on King Corbin and a lot of people. I love the deep six. I think that ought to be his finisher. It's a very impactful move. Maybe Big E can borrow that. But King Corbin versus Shinsuke, I love it. I think the battle for the crown should have been a Hell in a Cell, to be honest. But I'm here for that. I think it's a good rivalry. They both have a point. It'd be nice for King Corbin to drop the King moniker, but once again, where do you go from there? Are we going back to Baron Corbin? Are you going to drop Baron and just be Corbin like they do with everything else? I mean, he's King Corbin.
He could be the Lone Wolf. I mean,
yeah, that's his name, Lone Wolf.
The Lone Wolf. Yeah,
that's it.
I mean, he's gone from the Lone Wolf to the King Corbin. King Corbin is a nice name. It flows. King Corbin. It's easy to say. It's catchy. I get it.
And he looks like a dude.
Yeah, I know. I just King Corbin. I actually think a lot of people underestimate how good Corbin is on the mic. I think because he's just been kind of a bland heel for a while that can't ever catch legitimate heat. They very rarely allow this character to get any kind of sustained heat. They can't go more than a week without having Corbin get egg on his face as a heel, and that's not a good way to build a heel. You want a heel to build and build and build and have a baby face come out and stand up to the heel and finally give that heel what he's got coming to him. And they cannot do that with Corbin. He's constantly made to look like the fool. That's not how you get heat on a heel. It's in fact, the exact opposite formula to do that. So I'm not down on Corbin as a character. I just think that they haven't really done a whole lot with him for one reason or another, and he's good on the mic, I think. But this whole, worried about who's carrying the crown, it's just not my thing. And next week they're going to fight for the crown. I mean, whoever wins the match wins the crown. I guess that's the stipulation. But yeah, you're right. Over on Raw, of course, we got who is Ricochet, stealing the coat and hat of Sheamus. I mean, you talk about this. It seems as if the same writer came up with two different storylines for two different shows with the same premise at the same time, with these two things happening simultaneously. I don't know. So I know that didn't happen this week on Raw, but Sheamus, I guess, heading back to Raw because we closed out SmackDown here. What'd you think of Sheamus on Raw and what he's doing?
I hate it for him. Sheamus was hot, 2-3 months ago before WrestleMania? Sheamus was on fire. He was doing main events with Drew. He was involved in the title picture. Sheamus was on fire. And they put the U.S. belt on him in WrestleMania. And what happened to Sheamus? Where is Sheamus been? He's not on Hulu.
Mm-hmm.
He's fighting low mid card people, and didn't he lose twice?
I think he did. I
mean, good God.
Yeah.
I hate what they're doing to Sheamus. He should drop the belt. Drop the belt. Try to climb your way back into some upper mid card. But I mean, we talking about Ricochet. And I tell you something else. I bet you Ricochet wished they'd have put him in the Hurt Business.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that story. Yeah,
he would have at least Cedric and Cedric had 8 months to be hot. Ricochet, he's been where he's been for the past year.
Yeah, the Ricochet, he's such an amazing talent in the ring. I don't think they know what they have in the ring with him, but they don't have a character for him. As I've kind of have a running theme here of he's good in the ring to great in the ring, but we don't know anything about them outside of it. And we don't know anything about him other than he's the resident superhero. What the hell is that? Like, I mean, I don't, that's such a kind of just a childish name. Not my thing, but he's amazing in the ring. I mean, he does superhuman things, but him going around stealing, again, personal property from Sheamus, who has done, as you said, an amazing job, at least late 2020 to early 2021. He was the unsung hero of the show, and he could easily, this is what kills me, is Sheamus could easily be in the title hunt right now. But the problem is you have a heel champion. And when you have a heel champion, you can't have a heel chase because no one's going to really care. So until that belt goes on somebody that Sheamus can work with, I think Sheamus is going to stay out of that title picture. Now, him as U.S. champion, I'm glad they put the belt on him. I was very happy for him at WrestleMania. But since then, they just clearly had no plans for him after WrestleMania. They just stuck him on Raw, and they were like, who else doesn't have a storyline going on? Raise your hand. And, Humberto Carrillo raised his hand, and they're like, all right, you're with Sheamus tonight. That's the way it felt. It was just, it's been bad for Sheamus. Perhaps things turn around when the live crowd comes back, but I don't know. Any other thoughts on Sheamus?
Last thought.
Yeah.
It sucks when a reward turns into a punishment. That's bad.
Yep. It is. That's how it feels. It's a punishment because they had no follow through. They didn't know what to do after that. Same with AJ and Omos, who won the tag titles at WrestleMania. They didn't do anything with them for 4 weeks. So they get to WrestleMania and then they're like, "Whew, we made it, guys. We're done." And it's like, no, you're not at all. Like, you're not done because now you need to continue the stories. But okay, McIntyre and Lashley had their contract signing this week. And it was interesting, I'll say that. At least nobody went through the table, unless you're the sword of Drew McIntyre. You split it in half. I thought it was good. Bobby Lashley, when he's on point, which on the mic, we know he's not super good on the mic. He's never going to be known as a silver-tongued devil on the mic. He's just not. But he can be good. he's generally okay, but he can touch the good category once in a while. And he sparred with Drew McIntyre on the mic here, and I think it was fine. McIntyre ends up signing after telling Lashley that I want you inside Hell in a Cell, and I want you to put the championship on the line. Drew agreed, but also this will be their last time. So this is going to be the final encounter. We did touch on this a little bit at the top of the show here with Lashley and McIntyre. But what did you think about the stipulation, and really the sword cutting of the table at the end?
I did like the sword cutting. It was unique. If we're going for a unique look, that was a unique look. Bobby Lashley on the mic, let's be honest, he says what a champion's supposed to say. I mean, he don't give you much extra. He gives good promos. I'm not going to take nothing from him. But we all know MVP's the mouthpiece. MVP's the guy that keeps it going. He can say all the hot button issues, every topic he should touch. And then Bobby comes in, lays down his 2-3 sentences, and, there you go. The problem I got with Bobby currently, I need him to go back to bully Bobby. I need Bobby to go back to ragdolling people. I need Bobby to go back to destroying people. I need Bobby Lashley to go back to the almighty WWE champion Bobby Lashley. These Lashley ladies is not working no more. Get rid of them. If they'd have did that one night after WrestleMania, cool, that's what's up, you party, you did that. What champion parties every night? What champion insinuates that you're paying for women, which number one, you're champion, so you shouldn't have to pay for nothing.
Right.
I hate that. I hate the direction they're taking that. And that's, once again, why I think they could be putting the belt back on Drew. They're making Bobby look like he's got his eyes off the prize. His eyes is not on the ball. He's worrying about party. He's worrying about women. He's not worrying about that championship. When the last time somebody had the Hurt Lock? When's the last time somebody was in the Hurt Lock?
Too long.
Enough said.
Yeah, it's they are focusing. And here's the thing: I just complained about them not doing enough character development, and now they're trying to do character development with Bobby, and I'm a little bit regretting them trying because, like you said, them bringing in these women, it was the 2021 version of Godfather's Hoe Train. I've said this before, and it does feel like that. Even McIntyre alluded to it with the Lashley train. He said, "Here comes the Lashley train." Reading to the Hoe Train. We all know that. And I agree. I don't need to see him with these local women that are presumed bought and paid for the night. Obviously, they're really not. But I don't need that assumption in my mind that that's what Bobby Lashley cares about. I understand that the image of him with all these women that we're supposed to, I guess as fans, we're supposed to look at that and be jealous of that. Is that the heat generating idea? I'm not. I mean, I wouldn't want any woman that I have to buy and pay for. Like, I mean, that's not a thing I desire. But I get the image they're trying to make of Bobby. I understand it, but you're also, again, and this is the second time I've said this, you're also kind of taking down the women with you. I know these women are not part of the roster. They're not active competitors. I get that. But they are still women. And when you objectify the women on a show, I think by default also kind of touches all the other women, no pun intended. It also kind of, I guess, it encompasses all the other women with them and objectifies them, I think, in a way, because you're telling your audience that, women can be bought and paid. It's just not a good thing to do. Especially in 2021, Lashley was doing just fine with MVP. Like you said, I want him to get back to basics. Destroying, Hurt Lock, making people pass out, the intensity, destruction. That's what I want. Not the orange suit wearing, sunglass holding, which lady am I choosing tonight, Bobby Lashley? That's not what I want. And I really hope you're wrong, in that it's not something that's leading and hinting towards McIntyre reclaiming the championship. I have no interest in that.
And trust me, I want to be wrong. I want Bobby to hold the belt. I don't want him to give it up to Drew. But it's just too many things, at least to me, that's pointing to a Drew McIntyre win. Like I said, We're going back on the road. Drew lost last year at Hell in a Cell. Bobby's first time in Hell in a Cell. Bobby is messing with Lash's ladies. Drew, eyes on the prize. Bobby, not hurt locking people or bullying people or making any type of deals. I mean, I thought Bobby trying to get people to take out Drew made him look bad. Lord have mercy. I'll take that back again. I'll take that back. I'm tired of this crap. This, like I said, let Bobby go back to what he was doing and be a dominant champion.
Yeah, they're just they're going way off base with what makes Lashley really good, and this to me is it takes away from not just, of course, the women and how people view women on the wrestling channel anyway, on the wrestling show anyway, but also taking down Lashley's character with it. I think a little bit. It's kind of taking him down a peg that he's, like you said, he's losing focus on what the heck should matter, and that's the championship. And just being a complete animal in the ring. So I hope I got it. Like I said, I hope you're wrong too, because I don't want to. The problem is if Drew McIntyre wins, then what's he going to do? You can't have a rematch with Lashley and Drew. Is that the stipulation? Because then it just continues. If Lashley's like, "Hey, I want my rematch," well, can we do that? Because the contract was signed saying that was only if he lost. So I guess they could do it. I don't think fans want to see this again. For a long time. So I think that I really, please don't be right. The thing is, you've been right on some things and I didn't want you to be. I really don't want you to be right on this. Like, please. So, all right.
Don't want to be right.
No. Well, is there anything that I know there's maybe little kind of nooks and crannies we didn't cover, but was there anything that I didn't touch on? I know we got our questions we're going to ask each other at the end here, but anything before we get to the layoffs and that conversation?
No, I did want to hit on one thing. I know you guys and this is totally off of Raw SmackDown. I know everybody's been talking about WWE being sold, possibly rumors, and we did have somebody on the voicemail bag show who commented on that and had a lot of good points as to why, WWE could be sold to Disney. Just to give you a little extra ice cream on top, we have to remember Disney almost bought WCW, and that's something that's not talked about, but that is a true fact that almost happened. So I don't deny that Disney could get into the wrestling game. They own Hulu, they own NBC, ESPN. I mean,
wow.
I wouldn't fault Vince McMahon for doing it. Everybody who gives Benny Mac hell about, hey, pass it down to your family, hey, do this. I wouldn't be mad at Vince McMahon for whatever decision he made because, I know we're wrestling fans and we're energetic about wrestling, as we should be. You know what I mean? But wrestling, WWE, is a business. And, us as wrestling fans, we watch it, we get invested, and this is sports entertainment. I'm not mad at Vince McMahon if he makes that move. I'm gonna be honest, and no offense, when Vince McMahon does eventually fade to black, when he eventually does, I promise you, we will miss him and we will wish he was still running the show. We give him hell and say he's been staying up too long, or he's getting all time, he's getting old. He needs to let Triple H run it. I don't think so. I think when Vince McMahon goes, I think wrestling as a whole will go down. That includes AEW, that includes WWE, that includes TNA. Vince McMahon's a visionary. Vince McMahon did to the wrestling world what people wish they could have did. Vince McMahon makes stars. He don't buy stars who have already established by the competitor, AEW. That's why I'm not big on AEW. I like AEW. I'm not trashing AEW. But if we're being honest, they're going down the pipe. WCW went down. And I think they're going to have a similar fate. Can they stay around? Yes. Are they going to be competitors with WWE? I don't think it'll be long. I mean, I'm going to be honest. Yes, they beat NXT on Wednesday. Woohoo. I mean, honestly. So that's my take on that. I'll let you have the floor.
Well, yeah, I mean, people are looking at the fact that they quote beat NXT on Wednesdays as this, world class accomplishment. While it's commendable, your only claim to fame as AEW is that you beat a third brand of WWE, a brand that they don't even truly invest a lot of their time in. It was kind of like the redheaded stepchild of the three brands. Now, is it the best wrestling quality brand? Yes. Is it the easiest storylines to follow? Yes. Is it sometimes better than Raw and SmackDown? Yes. But in the eyes of Vince, you beat my third favorite child. Woohoo, like you said. It's something you should care, but you're not beating Raw and SmackDown regularly. You're not competing with them, quote, head to head. The Monday Night Wars are not, I don't think, going to happen again. So, I'm a fan of AEW though. Don't get me wrong. Like I don't watch it regularly, but I kind of I know what's going on. I understand the premise of the show. It's an alternative. They have legendary voices on there. Jim Ross, one of my favorite of all time. They brought in Big Show. They brought in Mark Henry. They brought in Sean Spears. They obviously brought in Jericho, Moxley. We go down the list. But I don't know what the longevity holds for them. We'll have to see. As far as WWE being sold, again, I mean, it's been a couple of weeks now since the massive news of Braun Strowman and others. I don't want to discredit, the other Ruby Riott and Aleister Black and Santana. But I think they'll be sold ultimately? No, but I'm not confident saying that, and you can hear it in my voice. I would give it no, but not very confidently. The reason I say no is I think Vince, while he may not... Well, he is big time into the money. I mean, look at what he did with selling the network to Peacock, that no one ever thought he would sell the network, and he sold the network. I think that ultimately he understands that when he dies, if he believes he's going to die, we'll have to see about that, but he would want to leave this company in good hands, as good of hands as possible to continue his legacy. I don't think that Vince McMahon would ever want to kill his child, his again, child in air quotes here, WWE, by giving it to a company that may mismanage it. And he would have to have all the faith in the world that Disney would not mismanage his company, his claim to fame, his whatever you want to call it, the pinnacle of his life. I would think that he'd want to put it in the best hands possible. So he would have to believe it's Disney rather than his own family, if they're even interested in claiming the throne. There's so many what ifs, right? I don't know.
It is, but let's be honest about something. It's something Vince McMahon says, and we as wrestling fans don't really acknowledge this. Vince McMahon has said he is not in the pro wrestling business. He's in the sports entertainment business. And who does entertainment better than Disney? I don't think that Vince McMahon is worried about his legacy as people think about. So I want to pose this question as an interlude to what we're talking about. Let's say Vince does sell the company, and they did sell to Peacock for $1 billion. What do you think the asking price for WWE will be?
Ooh. That is a damn good question. I mean, it's hard for me to come up with a number without looking at their financials. I mean, I'd have to look. There's so many different things like cash flow. I mean, I'm not going to get into like all the financials of looking at cash flow statements and quarterly reports and that kind of thing. I mean, if I was going to ballpark it, it's got to be, 800 to $1 billion. I mean,
I'm thinking 3 to 5 billion.
3 to 5 billion?
Would a B. If you just sold the rights to your network, just the rights to the network for the next 5 years for $1 billion. I mean,
but that's for
you're telling me
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's only for 5 years. You're telling me the company ain't 3 times multiple of that?
But I don't know.
Their streams is not even that high.
But they wouldn't get. Here's the thing: like they already sold that to Peacock. So if you're going to give it to Disney, Disney would have no control over. I mean, the Peacock deal's done and gone. So you're essentially taking away that $1 billion from the deal because until that 5 years expires, Disney would not own the WWE network until Peacock relinquishes it or the contract's extended. So you'd actually have to take away about $1 billion in value.
Right. I obviously I don't think they're gonna sell tomorrow. But if you're in a moment where Peacock's at the end of the 5 years, you can get the network and the company. What would you value?
Yeah.
I mean, you're in the billions.
Oh yeah, yeah. Probably with a B. Yeah, I mean, like,
Yeah.
you got to be in the B's. Yeah.
So can Vince McMahon leave that much money on the table? That's it in your family, not including the money you already got. You talking about a legacy. That's a legacy. He grown a company that was regional to $1 billion corporation and did what every millennial dreams of, is to come up with some tech company and sell it on Silicon Valley. He raised up a pro wrestling company, turned it to sports entertainment, and got out of it. Wrestling is not. Let's be honest about something, and this might be a not popular opinion either. Wrestling viewership is not growing across the board.
No, that's not an opinion. That's a fact. So
It's
no.
decreasing.
Yeah. Yep.
So if he holds on to this without some splurge of viewership, if it keeps going at the trend, it's time to get out.
Yeah, maybe he's finally going to abandon a sinking ship. I mean, it's possible. I would say that wrestling I think will always exist. I don't think there will ever be a time where, even if ratings are really, really bad, that they would just go, we're done with this venture. Wrestling doesn't exist anymore. No, I think that there's too much of an established fan base over decades and decades and decades. You would never do that. But I see what you're saying. I mean, yeah, that's not an opinion. I mean, the fact is, everything across the board is down. And yes, COVID had something to do with that. COVID did not help with TV ratings, sponsorship numbers, how much they're offering WWE to sponsor whatever they want during their programs. Like, of course, COVID had a big effect. But I think the measuring stick will be in 6 months, when they have been on the road again for, I don't know, 5 months or so. What do ratings look like? What are ticket sales? Are people actually coming back? What are merchandise sales? Like, I would love to see their quarterly report for the first quarter they're back in an arena, to see what it looks like. So, yeah, COVID had something to do with that. But even beyond COVID, things were falling before that. COVID just exacerbated the problem.
And it did. And, I hate it. Honestly, I love wrestling. And by no means am I saying wrestling's going to die. Wrestling will never die. There'll always be fans, to view this. And I personally am a fan for life. But I feel like, if we're being honest, and that's what I'm saying, let's take out emotions, let's take out feelings. If I'm Vince McMahon, I'm selling this company. They sold the rights to WWE Network to Peacock, and they didn't care about none of the setup of it. We got to deal with all this crap of trying to fast forward to the matches. It's not set up nice. Everything's everywhere. You're trying to search for matches. They didn't care about us having a bad experience at all. They could have told Peacock, hey, I want y'all to set up like this, but they didn't care enough for that. So let's be honest with ourselves. It's time to get out. Vince McMahon, I think he will make that decision. And I hate Peacock, by the way. I love WWE Network. It was great. Everything was easy to find. And whoever had that advice about the server or whatever we need to do, say that information again, because I would like to know that.
Yeah, just it's a VPN, virtual private network. And I mean, there's lots of VPNs out there, like ExpressVPN, whatever. If you get a VPN, it scrambles your IP, and then you can change your location to wherever you want, and that's how you do it. So I actually thought about that. A VPN isn't free. It's not expensive by any means. I think it's like $10 or less a month in some cases. But I thought about that because I cannot stand Peacock either. It is god awful. I mean, look, I use Peacock for other shows, but for WWE, it is terrible. I mean, there's no chapters. Searching for things is impossible. If you're looking for specifics too, like you said, good luck.
And they didn't care enough to make sure they set it up right.
Nope.
For the American viewers. Yeah.
It does. Again, this all does kind of point to a sale. right? Like you clean up your books, you're making your financials look as good as possible. You lay off this monster number of people, no pun intended, Braun, and you clean up, and you make your financials as like sparkling clean as you possibly can. That's what companies do before a sale. You want everything to look tip top shape. It's like, you're cleaning your house, making it look as good as possible, staging it for, the real estate agent to come in and put it on the market. Like that's what you do. Same concept here. Everything does point to a sale. I gotta say.
Well,
Yeah.
It goes a big rumor for you. It goes some clickbait for everybody. Do you think AEW owner has enough capital to purchase WWE?
Oh gosh, Tony Khan.
Yeah. And
I don't know
Vince be willing to sell it.
I don't think Vince would ever do that. I think his ego would never allow him, because that would be like him waving the white flag, and Vince would not allow it. I understand he's focused on the dollar. His ego would never allow it, because he would be the guy that he did that to WCW. And I don't think he'd want the same thing.
But that's different though. He bought WCW for $4 million. He bought a dead.
It was a bargain
brand.
price, yeah.
He bought a dead brand. I don't know Tony Khan, so I don't know his capital or how much he's worth, but I know he's worth a lot. If he comes together with a group of investors and they offering Benny Mac 5 to 10 with a B, or even 3 to 5 with a B, that I don't think you turn that down, and I think that's a different situation than what WCW did. WCW was dead. WCW had no more TV. WCW was nothing.
Yeah, they were on life support, but at the same time, Vince McMahon has got a hell of an ego, and I don't know what his vision is for his brand. He may not even look at it as his own legacy, just continuing the company successfully. I mean, he may not, believe it or not, look at this as saying, I want my legacy. It's not about me. It should be about the company. And maybe he views it that way. Perhaps he does. And I think that would be the correct mindset to have when you're selling a company, to put it in the right hands and not just potentially go to the highest bidder if you think they could destroy it, or for ego reasons. I mean, we'll see. That I didn't even think about that. And I don't know how deep Tony Khan's pockets are. I don't know. I really don't.
I don't either. And I agree. Ego is crazy, but we all know what does Ted DiBiase always say?
I was just going to say that.
Everybody's got a price.
It's so true. Yeah, that's true. Even Lashley's ladies, right? So
yes.
Oh gosh. All right. Well, I mean, this is a deep topic, and perhaps we're talking about something that isn't going to happen. I mean, we'll see. I thought it would be, if it was going to happen, it was going to happen real soon. But all right. Well, here's the thing. You brought up something that at the beginning of the show you asked me, and I've had time to think about it. And you hinted towards some of your picks about. Well, you know what? You go ahead and ask.
All right. Me and Matt, we was having a nice convo before we came on, and we got to talking about the recent firings. And should we start off with the first topic of who would be better than Braun, or do you want to go straight into the three? Because I think the Braun conversation's got to come out.
Yeah, go ahead and do that.
Okay, so the question is, and WWE podcast listeners, you guys can weigh in on the mailbag show if you would like. If Braun was supposedly making $1 million plus, if you have to free up $1 million in capital with one wrestler, who else but Braun would we pick? I know emotionally, as fans, we get emotionally invested with people, and it sucks when anybody gets fired. But as I said earlier, this is a business, and me personally, I don't want to get rid of a Seth Rollins, a Bobby Lashley, a Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton, a AJ Styles, who are in that realm of cash, capital, contract wise. So, to you, Matt, would you sacrifice somebody else other than Braun who makes as much money as Braun?
I'm trying to even find somebody. Kevin Owens, we talked about that. Kevin Owens is probably making close to that figure, but I think he's got much more to offer than Braun does. not just on the mic, but I think character-wise, I think he's a little bit more developed on WWE's fans' eyes than Braun was, which is I think partially why they got rid of Braun is, well, we got more monsters here that can take his place. We feel like we've gotten everything out of him. Who could possibly, if you're going to only do one guy or gal that is taking that hit for a massive contract of $1 million or more? Yeah, we mentioned Seth. Can't do Seth. I mean, that would have been catastrophic if they let Seth Rollins go.
Well, let's even be honest. We can look at wrestlers we hate. You can't fire the Miz.
That's funny. He was on my list.
Oh God! No, I don't think you can. As much as he does for WWE with the TV shows and the appearances, you can't fire the Miz.
I mean, you asked if it was up to me, right? So
yeah.
So there's the difference. Miz was one of my three. So there. How about that?
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Hurt. What up? So you can get rid of the Miz over Braun Strowman?
Yes. I wouldn't even think about it. I wouldn't even think about it. I think the Miz has been with WWE way longer. Number one, we know what the Miz is. We like the Miz is a guy that's never going to be your top guy. Never. Miz is a guy that is a perennial mid-card joke. Not a joke as a character, but kind of the butt of the joke with whatever program he's in, or he's doing some bad comedy segment now with Morrison. A celebrity comes in, he ends up taking the pinfall or whatever it may be for that celebrity at the sacrifice of WWE. I think we've gotten everything out of the Miz that we possibly can.
I was going to say, with everything you just said about the Miz, you just made my point of why he shouldn't be fired. Who else going to work with a celebrity but the Miz? Who else can be elevated to the top card?
How about the answer is nobody. Nobody works with celebrities. You know why? Because Bad Bunny is like the needle in the haystack with the effort he put in. Most celebrities that come in do not do that. Most celebrities that come in are looking to make a quick dollar. Most of them that come in and end up underperforming at WrestleMania or wherever they are, and end up just leaving egg on the face of the person that's there, and they go off and go to Hollywood and do whatever. I don't think that you don't do business with celebrities unless they're on the receiving end of, I don't know, a finish. I mean, I want nothing to do with celebrities and matches. I know we Bad Bunny. I understand that. That's like a 1 in a million. So, no.
And I get that. Celebrities ain't big. I personally don't mind it. But I don't think get rid of the Miz. I think he's very important. I know people listening to this podcast saying, what? Get rid of the Miz. Yes, I wish they fire him. I think he's very important to the brand. I think he's very important to wrestling. He got his own TV show. For good God's sake. He's the reality guy. Everybody knows the Miz, whether you like him or love him. He's a Triple Crown champion. He can do all the dirty work and still look clean. He can be a jobber and not look like a jobber, and then get inserted into the WWE Championship match, and you're scared he could win.
He did win this year.
He did, but I'm just saying, he always has that chance of being champion at any moment. I don't think you can get rid of the Miz.
I'd rather see him in a managerial role. Like I would just maybe if I was going to fire him, I would just hey Miz, we're done with you as a in-ring competitor. You're going to be the mouthpiece for X wrestler. I mean that's where I've always seen the Miz is actually his best days are in front of a microphone, not in the ring. That's how I view it. But so he's my one. He's 1 out of 3.
Okay. Nice little preview. All right, but anyway, who will replace Braun? Now we can't pick the Miz because you already.
Yeah, I don't. That's But your question about Braun Strowman, I don't know. You can't fire Orton. He's making that money or more. I mean, you can't fire Orton. Sheamus is probably somewhere close to that, but Sheamus is such a good heel, a solid guy, solid performer. You can't get rid of him. The problem is when you're looking for a single person at that level, there's very few. Charlotte Flair, you can't do that. I'm looking at the roster. I'm scanning down the roster. I don't see anyone that would make sense. I don't know. This is difficult. This is really hard because they looked at it as maybe like, let's get rid of only one guy at $1 million instead of 5 people that would equate to $1 million. I don't know. Yeah, that's hard. Do you have an idea?
No, which brings me to my point. I don't think we should bash WWE for the decision. Now, we can bash WWE for why they made the decision, and that is a question to wonder why they did it. But if a business decision has to be made where you have to clear a wrestler who makes $1 million plus for whatever reason, Braun is the guy who's the lowest on the chopping block.
Yeah, I mean, he is. So, I mean, from that perspective only, I understand why they did it. I mean, but there's also that, well, look, the billions of dollars, right? Like, it's $1 billion business, and yet they're concerned about a $1 million contract. I mean, that it's like 1% of their total net worth that they're worried about. It's. I think the net loss of this is the decrease in morale that probably was caused by this, the fear of working at that place. I think it just, there's a lot of unseen things that happen when you do something like that. I think creative is stifled because a lot of performers are probably now going to be fearful to go out on a limb for fear that they may lose their job if they don't do exactly what creative asks. So I think you're creating a lot of things that you can't see that are problematic outside of, woo, we saved $1 million a year. But now, oh wait, yeah, morale's down. People are fearful for their jobs. They're not going out on a limb. Creative is down. Like you're creating a big problem by doing this, I think. But that's me.
And I agree, But another aspect that, as a wrestling fan, that I do want to acknowledge, we don't know the what's going on in the locker room. I don't know what happened backstage. We don't know if Braun had an issue, or we don't know if other wrestlers felt like, hey, he's a low man on the totem pole. Oh well, wrestling is a very competitive business. And I tell you this: if I'm a top wrestler and Braun Strowman just left, I feel more confident that I'm gonna get a push now.
But I would feel that I'd go, well, if they did that to Braun, and Braun was just in the main event last month, and he was making this money, and he was not getting all this TV time, and then they just can him, what are they going to do to me? If they don't care about him, why would they care about little old me? Right? It's just not a good thing to do for the culture that you're trying to create. You want to feel like the company would take care of you, have your back, wouldn't blindside you. That's for any employer. It's not a good feel. If I would never want to be hired by WWE ever. I mean, for real, unless they were just going to pay me to, I don't know, put sponsorships on my podcast or something. I would never want to work for them directly ever. I mean, how many people, and we're not even hearing about that got released. The people that are behind the scenes, people that set up the ring, that help, with the travel. Obviously, they'll bring some back on as travel increases. But the hundreds of people, I mean, I think I'm not exaggerating when I say literally hundreds, probably 100 to 200 that were released that we didn't hear their names or know their stories. Not just the talent, but everybody behind the scenes that got released. Boom, no job. It's just not a place I'd want to work.
And I agree, but let's be honest about something. If you're comfortable, you become complacent. And if you want the best out of these wrestlers, and I agree, is it a good look? No. But you're going to try to up your game. And I still feel like if you're one of the top tier wrestlers, you feel like, okay, there's somebody else out of my way. If you the lower mid card, yeah, you probably like, oh man, they got Braun, they get me. But if you're on the ascend, if you're a top dollar guy, you feel like Braun is out of the way. Now I can get opportunity. He's doing matches with Shane McMahon just to get him in the loop. He was gone for months before that. Let's be honest. I mean, yeah, they fired Braun. Braun is a big name, but that's it. He lost to Bobby Lashley in less than 10 minutes before Bobby Lashley became champion. He vanished. He came back. He feuded with Shane about being stupid. He got in a triple threat match, which he lost. He's a big name, but he is what you did for me today, not what you did for me 2 years ago.
It's always about what have you done for me lately? Always has been. I mean, that's not just true for wrestling. It's always true for like any part of life. A lot of times you do something for somebody and you could do it forever, or you could do it every day for 6 months, and then you don't do it the day one of month 7, and they're like, what the hell? And it's always about what you've done for me lately, right? It's always that way with life. But to your point about being motivated and not complacent, I understand that logic. Like, you want your employees to be motivated because that usually brings out the best in them. But would I want them to be motivated by fear, or whether I want them to be motivated by their passion for the product, right? Like, the difference would be here that when you're motivated by fear, typically people do things just enough not to get fired. They won't do anything above and beyond, I think, because they're fearful that if that above and beyond will piss off Vince McMahon, that they're now going to lose their job. So I get what you're saying, that, yeah, you can't be complacent. And really, it's true in any line of work. Well, you'll be fired. I get it. Or somebody will surpass you, or you'll be overlooked for a promotion. I get that. But you're also now motivating people out of fear. That's a different motivator. And it's more stressful of a motivator than actual passion for the product, and a more of a relaxed environment that, kind of cultivates creativity rather than, puts fear in people's minds. If I could get that call from Johnny Ace that, well, kid, we're going in a different direction, that is what I think is the difference.
And I agree. And let me put this out there first. I feel bad for Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman is a normal everyday guy who lost his job. They paid him well, and I'm pretty sure his lifestyle is centered around his paycheck that he signed his contract for. So in that aspect, I feel bad for Braun. You know what I mean? I hate it happened to him, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people feel that way. And I agree, it's not cultivating a good culture in wrestling. But we can all agree on this: wrestling's never had a good culture in the locker room. That is, it's always been, hey, you getting more time than me. I don't like you for that. Hey, you just came here and you're already champ. Hey, he's getting opportunities I didn't have. It's a highly competitive locker room and a business. And like I said, I'm pretty sure, and I'm pretty sure people disagree with me, but I bet you more people in the locker room was happy that Braun's got on than is mad that he's gone.
Oh, yeah. No, and I'm sure he actually, Adam Scher, his real name, I'm sure Adam had like actual friends backstage. I'm sure he did. I'm sure those people were sad for him, felt for him, but I think even his friends, maybe that were working there, like you said, probably looked at that and said, well, I feel bad for the guy, but this could be my opportunity, right? Like, and I don't think that's a selfish thing to think about, because it's your livelihood too. When a spot opens up, you should take that and take advantage of that. Even if it's a spot that was vacated by a friend of yours, you should look at it and go, well, I can't do anything about the fact he's fired. It wasn't my fault he was fired, but all I can do is maybe try to take his spot, right? Like, yeah, that's what they should do. And that's what anybody would do. I don't think it would be smart for anyone to sit there and go, oh man, I feel so bad for him. I know this is my career now that I could elevate and have an opportunity to elevate, but I feel so bad for him. I'm just going to sit here and sulk. I mean, you would be a fool. Of course, people should absolutely take advantage of that, but do people? I don't know. I would think that competition has ramped up for his spot, but I mean, who knows? Like you said, the backstage culture in wrestling has been toxic, historically toxic. And certainly that doesn't help. But all right, well, let's get to your three. Let's just get to your three picks who you would fire. And actually, no. You came up with the idea. I'll give you the stipulations. How did you come up with this list? What's the parameters here?
All right. Well, see, now I'm going to change it. Let's do 3 men, 3 women, and we have to see them regularly on TV.
Wow. Okay. Now, okay.
Which is gonna be hard for the women. I get
this is really because you're asking us to like cut half the women's roster.
Yeah. Yes. 3 men, 3 women. They can't be jobbers, so we can't say Jeff Hardy, and they have to be
like Naomi, or who's never been. Okay. Yeah.
Naomi, and we can't say people like Keith Lee, who we haven't seen in a while.
Got it.
So how about we go back and forth? You pick one, I pick one, and
all right. Oh boy. All right, well, I already picked The Miz, so that was my pick with the men.
Boom. Okay. Give me. I'm trying to go down the list myself and see somebody. Oh, okay. This is easy. Sheldon Benjamin.
Wow.
He's
Okay.
regularly seen on TV.
Yep.
You know what I mean? He wasn't a jobber. And he has traded wins with Cedric. So
Yep.
I think I give him the boot, become a producer.
Agreed. I'm not. I was gonna pick him, but you already picked him, so I won't. This is hard. I would say Elias.
Oh,
Gone.
Oh my God. I want to fire him out of camp. Okay. I'm going to go. All right. I'm going to name somebody new. Jinder Mahal, who just came back.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. You're already giving him the boot?
Already getting the boot. He didn't do much. He can take Stanky and whoever else with him.
Yeah, I don't even Stanky and somebody else. I mean, I forget who that guy is. Yeah.
Hold
boy.
on, before we name our next one, we gotta
Yeah.
go to SmackDown. We both named 2 Raw superstars, so let's pick somebody off SmackDown next.
Oh no, that's the list I'm on. Yeah. So I'm picking somebody from SmackDown that has to go from the men's roster. The problem is it's got to be somebody regular. That's the kick. That's the kicker. It has to be somebody regular. Oh wow. I would, and people are going to freak out when I say this. Dominic Mysterio, gone.
Oh, okay. I can agree they should put Dominic on NXT. He's developing bad. He needs to get bigger.
No, it's not. It's not in ring. I mean, in ring, the kid is fine. It's nothing to do with in ring. But yeah,
I totally agree. Okay. All right, I'm gonna say this next person. I'm gonna send. Please don't send me hate mail for this one, but I'm gonna be honest about stuff when I see it. Okay. Cesaro gone.
Whoa.
Cesaro gone.
Oh my. What's the justification for that? People are going to ask me.
I know the world wants to know this. I think the WWE dropped the ball when they had Daniel Bryan doing a lot of Cesaro speaking, and then they gave it to Cesaro. I don't think he carried it well. I don't think he could ever hold the WWE Championship. I'm in the Cesaro section. You can ask my wife. I do cheer for him, but if we're being honest, and if I'm gonna take somebody, because I like Dolph Ziggler. I mean, he was coming up, Dolph Ziggler, Robert Roode, but I like the 30 Dogs. I think Cesaro would get the cut.
Wow. Okay. Wow. I didn't see that coming. Blindsided. All right.
There you go. That's some clickbait for you.
That is it. There you go. I'm putting that in the description of the show. All right. With the women. All right. I'm picking a woman from Raw here. I don't think this is going to surprise anybody. And she is a regular, but I'm going with Dana Brooke.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say somebody else totally.
No.
You took my pick. All right, here goes some more clickbait for everybody. Alexa Bliss.
Whoa.
Oh, gone.
Wow. Okay. Damn.
Oh.
Yeah. That's rough. I mean, given that they just main evented her on Raw.
When's the last time she wrestled a match in January? Oh, excuse me. Against Randy
she was in the Rumble.
February.
No, she faced Asuka for the championship briefly or something.
And then she faced Randy Orton.
Yeah, well, fought Randy. Sure. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay, so now I'm trying to pick somebody else here. We've got to do 3 women. The women are much more difficult. Really difficult here. If I'm going to cut somebody, you mentioned it earlier, but you're forcing me to. And I'm trying to make real picks, not just.
Don't take my pick.
Yeah. All right, I'll leave your pick there because you're already going to pick her. Natalya, gone.
Oh my God! What?
Yeah. They don't do anything. What is she doing?
She's the tag team champion.
I know, but outside it, like when they drop the belts, which they're inevitably going to do, I don't need to see her with cat ears walking down the aisle, right?
You would drop Natty over Tamina?
You don't know what you... Well, yes.
Now, I know ain't nobody meaner than Tamina, but you drop it. man.
I didn't finish my picks yet either. So Natalia is gone.
Okay, true. All right, well, give me Liv Morgan. Gone.
Wow, not even giving it a chance. Don't.
I would have fired. If we're gonna fire Ruby Riott, they should just went on and cleaned the whole group.
Yeah, that's yeah. I mean, just why are we doing things halfway, right? So, yeah, I would also finish things out by firing Tamina. I would fire both of those women. Yeah, sorry. I know I'm making your pick really hard. Tamina's gone.
You didn't. Mandy Rose for me then. We'll clean up the tag team. You fired Dana. I fired Mandy.
They're gonna have no tag teams left.
Yes.
Yeah, Mandy Rose. I would agree. Mandy Rose probably gets the boot because I don't need to see her compete in the ring or try to seduce Otis. I'm done. Yeah.
Totally horrible. And by the way, disclaimer, we're just having fun with the situation. By no means are we encouraging people to be fired.
Oh no.
And friendly fun with this, everybody.
Of course. I mean, like people are I'm sure we're gonna get something on the mailbag. Not negative, just saying why would you fire so and so over so and so? It's all subjective, guys. I mean,
and I love it.
Yeah.
And tell us that. Write in, call in, let us know your picks for your three.
Yeah, that and the whole stipulation here, and that is, it's so difficult that you make is you not only have to pick three women, which is really difficult considering they're a fraction of the size of the men's division, but you have to make them regulars. Like you said, I can't pick Riddick Moss, who's injured, or Tucker, who's currently inactive. Like you have to pick somebody that's you see regularly on TV. That's hard. Yeah. All right. Well, any final thoughts, my friend, on really anything going on, or just kind of closing comments?
No, I have nothing else to talk about wrestling. I do want to give a couple shout outs. Shout out to everybody on the Voicemail Bag Show. You guys are fun every week. I do want to speak on somebody who did wrote in real quick. I think can't remember if it was Kyle from New York or Kyle from Baltimore, one of the Kyles. And they wrote in, or they voicemailed in talking about, what did he say? Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks are the same gimmick.
Oh, yes. Yep.
And the casual wrestling fan don't call people out, but I totally disagree with that, sir. Sasha Banks is cocky. Bianca Belair is confident. There's a true difference, and I love how the EST is a face. I think she plays a baby's face role great. She doesn't come off condescending. She doesn't come off cocky. She comes off very confident, where Sasha Banks is Sasha Banks.
Yeah.
Yep. She's mean. She seems like she's probably like that in real life. That doesn't seem like an act for her. And no offense, that's her right to be how she wants to be. But I do think they have totally two different personalities. And I understand he loves Sasha Banks, but don't try to pull down Bianca Belair.
And it's funny you mentioned that Bianca Belair or Sasha Banks seems like that way in real life, because on this Broken Skull Sessions was when she was speaking with Austin, Mercedes, obviously we all know was her real name. She came off a lot like her character, Sasha Banks. Her laugh, her demeanor, the way she was sitting and talking with him. And I'm like, you're not supposed to be in character. I mean, it was just, I think that's actually who she is, which makes it even worse. So, yeah, I do not like the way that she just is. I feel like she's, like you said, arrogant, whereas Bianca Belair turned a character that should be heel by all intents. If you gave me Bianca Belair's character on paper, I would say this is 100% a heel. But the way that she presents it, how are you calling yourself the EST of everything, and yet you're a babyface? It's genius. I don't know how she does it.
Hey, I love it. It's great. Great character development. Great. But yeah, I just got a few shout outs. Shout outs to everybody on the Mailbag Show. Kyle from New York, Kyle from Baltimore, Terry from Tennessee. Shout out to you. All the regulars. Shout out to everybody else. Also, shout out to my youth soccer team, Music City Outlaws. Became in third place in the soccer tournament. So I know casual wrestling fan sounds a little hoarse. Me and my wife, we coach. I yell a lot. But we did good. We went out there, came away with third. So proud of the team. And yeah, all the casual wrestling fans, just email Matt, tell him what you want to tell him. He always gets the messages to me. So, because casual wrestling fan does not do social media.
No, you do not. All right, so I'll be your intermediary for people that want to say things to you or about you. So that'll be the mailbag, guys. Like, send me email realwwepodcast@gmail.com, and you guys know the number as well, 518-952-0247. So definitely let me know what you guys thought about this episode. I'm sure that it'll generally be received positively, I think. You guys are the reason that he's back, and not because I didn't want to bring him back, but he's usually not in our typical rotation of co-hosts. So I'm glad that you really shoved me to get him back, because it's been great. So, well, thank you, Mr. Casual Wrestling Fan, for joining us here. We had a really in-depth conversation. 2.5 hours never went so fast. So thanks so much for popping on. Congratulations to your third place team. And I'm sure we'll be in touch, probably in the mailbag, I would assume.
Yes, sir. I'll be back this Thursday. Well, you posted on Thursday. So
yeah, usually Thursday. Yeah.
So I'll be back then. Like I said, everybody hit up Matt and let them know how you feel about the show. And thanks for having me on, Matt.
Thanks so much. Take care.
You too, sir.
Good night.